Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Puck Drops here. This is one of my favorite things to do in the entire year. Hopefully, you guys pay attention. This will be about for 4 hours and 5, so hang out with me for some time. We got the 2019 National Hockey League entry draft, one of the greatest things in all of sports coming on, and we'll be looking at a lot of players and a lot of teams that have their selections tonight. And we have the Devils, of course, my New Jersey Devils. They have the first selection in the draft. And for that, we will look at all of the prospects, how they've played. I will show you as much as I can before the draft, which is about to drop in about 12 to 15 minutes. I'm going to show you, since it doesn't drop immediately, some film of the players. And also in this time, let's say hello to my friend Constantine, who just chirped in. I want to say hello to everybody coming in. Hopefully you guys hang out with me. And any questions you have about the channel, anything really, but I want to say, like, if you have anything, if anybody's on this channel and they watch my videos that you have to ask me to post, any suggestions, I would love to hear that now. Any questions about hockey or even my life, just ask away. Some good things we can talk about. First talk on the draft coming up. We have the Devils for the second time in 3 years, missing the playoffs. And yes, the Devils did not do well this year. Third worst record, but once again, they won the National Hockey League entry draft lottery. And for that, we will look at a player who is I did say hello to you, Constantine, already. A player who is an absolute star in the U.S. National Development Team. In fact, there are 6 U.S. National Development Teams players, including the goaltender and their top 3 scorers, that are supposed to go in the first round this year. Of course, we will look at them as we go along. I just want to show you guys some film on Jack Hughes. And Jack Hughes is a player, an intense U.S. guy, American guy. He's the brother of Quinn Hughes, the young defenseman for the Canucks. Constantine, the first pick, it belongs to the New Jersey Devils, as I had said. Now, Jack Hughes is an incredible player, and he has talent, but it was looked at, well, should they take him? Should they take when did the New York Islanders select? 23rd. They have the 23rd pick because of their fantastic year and second round exit to the hands of the Carolina Hurricanes. We'll go through all those picks as well. Look at the New Jersey Devils and of course, Jack Hughes. As I was saying, there was some look at Jack Hughes, Kaapo Kakko. How good are they? How good is the forward? Should they take Kaapo Kakko, the Finnish player? Winnipeg has the 19th selection in the NHL draft that originally belonged to the New York Rangers, but it was traded for Jacob Trouba, the young defenseman. But speaking of Winnipeg, they have the star Patrik Laine and Kaapo Kakko, the Finnish star. Just interruption on, will the Devils make the playoffs? Depending on what happens in the offseason. If they do good in free agency, like taking the defenseman out of Toronto and Jake Gardiner, or making a deal with the Jets for Tyler Myers, yes, they should make the playoffs. But if not, it's questionable. Now, it should be said that this Kaapo Kakko kid, which I will show you later, is a very good player. Jaden Struble, I'm not sure who that is. But they have a very good player for in Kaapo Kakko, as well as Jack Hughes. But Jack Hughes, as you will see, his puck gets glued to his stick. He's an incredible player, and I think he's better. And this is like Austin Matthews versus Patrik Laine. There's no way that Kakko should be taken at first and that the Rangers should take him at the number 2 selection. Now, let's take a look at film of Jack Hughes. Actually, excuse me, that is the wrong one here. This is the film I was specifically looking at. I'm going to say hi to Bill Wilson here as he's come up on the screen, of course. And we will now look at highlights here of Jack Hughes. If you guys can see, tell me if you guys can see clearly. Jack Hughes is number 6 in blue. If you watch, he twirls, works on the wall, good player. This is also against National Hockey League talent. This is against Team Europe with players like some Finns and some guys like Patrick Laine and such. We look at number 6 again, if you can see him. Sorry, the video's a little blurry. You watch, see, that's a good shot on goal against a National Hockey League goalie in net. Good playing, and you just watch how just effortless he is. There's a good shot, and then an even better one off the stick. So that's enough of Jack Hughes. Is Wayne Gretzky coming back? No. That'd be amazing for the National Hockey League, but there's no way. Wayne Gretzky was not as good as John Tavares in the prime. That's a ridiculous statement, Constantine. But you could, as an Islander fan, which I'm assuming you are, you could make a statement that Mike Bossy in his prime was better than Wayne Gretzky in his prime. And Wayne Gretzky's first Stanley Cup final was very disappointing as they were smacked by the Islanders in the 1980s. So you could use that, Mike Bossy, but don't tell me John Tavares. That's garbage. We'll look some more, as I believe that the Rangers with the 2nd overall pick, and this is a team, let's divulge into the New York Rangers. This hockey club, John Tavares is better than Crosby. Hey, I hate Sidney Crosby, but I got to tell you, no, Sidney Crosby is a better hockey player. Kaapo Kakko, the Finnish star, who I think is the next Patrick Laine, is an incredible player that the Rangers will take. And I'm telling you what, the New York Rangers have had an incredible year. They take Jake Trouba from the Jets, and they also end up selecting, with a trade, with the Jimmy Hayes trade, they end up getting, what's his name? Brendan Lemieux, who is the son of former Avalanche and Devils star Claude Lemieux, the Winnipeg Jets. And the New York Rangers are doing a great job. They get John Davidson. Winnipeg is a hockey team in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, just north of Minnesota, Constantine. The Winnipeg Jets ended up trading the guys to the Rangers. Rangers get John Davidson, former Columbus Blue Jackets and St. Louis Blues general manager and president of hockey operations. And then they get some luck into take the jersey off. No, I'm fine. And get a guy, and they could get a guy like Kaapo Kakko. And here are his highlights. Well, most Canadians are in the NHL, Constantine, to answer your question. So this, if you can see, is Kaapo Kakko, the Finn. He's got speed. He's got the stick work, but he's not first. That's an incredible shot. He's not first pick overall worthy, but this is a guy that will help the Rangers offense. You want to put him on the line because of Benajad. You want to have him with Kreider as a young guy. He can be a phenomenal player in this league, and he will be. You'll be probably seeing him in Madison Square Garden sometime soon. Just a phenomenal player. See how he sits the knee down by the cage? That's a Sidney Crosby move. That's an incredible play, and that's something. See, almost scored on that too. And a good pass right there. It went wide, but a good pass. So that's a guy that really has that type of skill, of course. As we go back, we'll go to the draft soon. Now, the 3rd pick is held with the Chicago Blackhawks. That is absolutely up for grabs. If you guys are wondering what I'm wearing, I go to Montclair State, obviously, and we have a hockey team. But my favorite Division I hockey team is the Harvard Crimson. So that's why I'm wearing this. Draft, I'll be switching hats left and right anyway. So look at – yes, it is a Fire Stick remote. I'm using YouTube. Vasily Podkolzin. So Vasily Podkolzin, everybody's talking about Turkett. They're talking about Zeke Zegras, Matthew Boldy, Cole Caulfield, great scorers for the American National Development Team. But honestly, I think Henrik Lundqvist is better than Martin Brodeur. Excuse my spelling. You're absolutely incorrect. Henrik Lundqvist has won one Vezina trophy to his two, and I believe a Hart trophy by Martin Brodeur. Marty Brodeur's got 3 Stanley Cups. In my opinion, he's one of the greatest players ever. Christian Stedfeld, who is being his first pick overall, is going to obviously be a Jack Hughes, as I had said. Constantine, why is Lundqvist called the king then? It's just a marketing point by Ranger fans. But back to Chicago Blackhawks. There was another team that played well. They almost made the playoffs at some point. Who is going to be the last pick? I have no clue. I've only done this. Is this a sponsored stream? No, I'm not good enough yet to be sponsored, Bill, but I've had commercials on my YouTube page before. So, or because he is called the king because he is the greatest of all time. You can't be the greatest of all times with no championships. Meta Sogard from Denmark. I could see that. But the Danes have some good players, though. But back to the Chicago Blackhawks team that almost made the playoffs. Everybody's talking about Cole Caulfield and so on, Turkett. But I really think this Russian kid, Vasily Podkolzin, he's a type of size as it comes in. Yes, I will show you the draft when it starts. I will show you a bit of me, me speaking, but also when the pick comes in, I will put the computer next to the television and show you who is being picked and when, and then give you my analysis. Martin was only good because the defense in front of him, the King was raw talent. I'll address that after these highlights. Ignore the Russian, but right over here, if you can see clearly, this guy with the puck, number 19, that's Podkolzin. He gave a great pass. He's going to be a guy that can pass the puck well. You look at a guy assists. You look at what you have in the Madhouse. You've got Patrick Kane. You've got Jonathan Taves. You've got an emerging star in Alex DeBrincat. You have superstars. You have power. And I think Podkolzin would be good if Chicago goes together. To move it to the left, I'll try. When the draft starts, you'll see better with the computer. Roll one round. Okay, so no, that's not true about Martin Brodeur. He had one of the greatest defenses the National Hockey League has ever seen. And I'll just input now because I believe the draft is about to start. Excuse me. Martin Brodeur had one of the greatest defenses the National Hockey League has ever seen. But I really think that Martin Brodeur, just the way he played, also, he was not even a specific butterfly goalie at the time with Dominic Hasek, where were butterfly goalies. But as the draft is starting, but that was, I'm trying to answer it, so my grammar is not really going right now. But you look at a player like Marty Brodeur, and the way he played was absolutely incredible, able to play with any defense. And when the defense slipped up, he would make the save. Just an incredible player. Wait, tune into Twitter. Jack Hughes tore his ACL. No, he didn't. And even if he did, I would still take him. Who do I? Sorry, Christian Stedfeld. Who do I think the best Danish hockey player is? Ever not sure. Now Lars Eller. He's an underrated player that's really done well for the Washington Capitals, and he was really good scorer too. Christian, no problem. I don't have an issue with that. Constantine actually is my friend. He's just plainly being an idiot right now. But no, I think Lars Eller. He was a great scorer with the Montreal Canadiens, and a good player with the Washington Capitals. I think he's the best Dane. And there's a bunch of Danes that are in the draft right now. We got about 5:40 until the National Hockey League draft is, and Gary Bettman's going to come on. Pete, the king is the king for a reason. You are an Islanders fan. I don't know why you're stating that. Now, there are players that are coming in. I want to talk about the prospects as they come in through. Watch this name. This is a popular name, but this name, I think this may be the most underrated and might have the best career out of all these young rookies. And thank you for whoever got put on the like. I will also be alerting you with trades with any when does it start? In about 5 minutes, Christian. Franz Nielsen is the GOAT. Constantine, Franz Nielsen, one, is not an Islander anymore. He plays for Detroit. And do I know the king is the king for a reason? No championships doesn't mean anything. So we'll have that. Anyway, a prospect who means a lot and who will contain a lot of power and speed and all of that is Bowen Byram. You need to know this name in 5 minutes, Constantine. In 5 minutes. Bowen Byram is a big Canadian boy. He's I like Franz from Denmark, Ho City. Okay. But Bowen Byram, big Canadian boy, plays for the Vancouver Giants in the Western Hockey League. He is a big tall. He's got a great shot. His shot actually, he's a defenseman by trade. But his shot reminds me of Johan Franzen, the way he plays. Just look up Bowen Byram highlights. He's got speed. He's got a great shot. And I believe, just as Lidstrom did and as the player of the caliber of Scott Stevens did, he is going to come in and change the way defenses are played in the National Hockey League. The way Bowen Byram plays is the way the defenses in the National Hockey League are going to play in the future. You're watching the future when you watch him. How many minutes are in, Constantine? Not sure what that means. I'm a good streamer. Something. I would really appreciate that, Christian, if you would do that. Been really working on my network, so I appreciate it. I did one last year, but this is going to be good. So we got about some more time. I really think this draft, though, the caliber, but this is a time for American hockey that we haven't seen in a long time. And I'm not being biased because I am American, but if you think about 6 players of their caliber to come in, and how about Daniel Jones? I guess I'll answer this because I did say I would answer anything. Yeah, I think he might be a good quarterback for the Giants. Just have to wait and see. But I would prefer only hockey questions, but I'll try to talk a little about other sports if you guys want to talk a little about other sports. But I really think this is a peak time and a changing time for American hockey. Because right now, the Canadians, not as much as the Europeans, a golden age, obviously, for them. When you do a football stream, tell me. I may do a stream in the future with my friends at college of doing pick'ems for every week. That's a good thought. I may do that. I don't know if I'll create a different channel for it or if I'll do this channel, but that's a good idea. So, if anybody else has any ideas for any other streams or any other hockey content or any sports or other content, just type it up here. Just tell me what you would want for that. Hopefully, draft starts soon so we can get into it. This will be very exciting. Obviously, I'm looking forward to see if there's going to be any trades. Obviously, the big one. The National Hockey League entry draft doesn't have as many big trades as the NFL draft does, but we did have one big trade last year that affected the playoffs when, of course, Philip Grubauer was dealt to the Colorado Avalanche from the Washington Capitals, the defending champions, and Brooks Orpik, when they bought the contract out, and then the Caps took him back, but Grubauer, the big content, and he helped the Colorado Avalanche go the farthest they had gone in the second round since the farthest they had gone in playoff hockey since 2002, which was amazing. What do I project for the New York Islanders? At the 23rd pick, I see them taking Victor Soderstrom, who's a defenseman from Brynäs IF, which is a Swedish elite league, one of the top programs in Sweden. And defense you want to build on. I don't think Lou Lamoriello won't start him in New York immediately, but he'll go to Bridgeport, probably play a year or two, and if he makes the New York Islanders, he would be a big contributor for them in the back end. We've seen players get drafted in the first round, second round, play well in college or in their leagues and in the American Hockey League, and end up not even drafting for that team. town boy Will Butcher was drafted 3 years ago with the Colorado Avalanche, played for the University of Denver, Colorado boy, played for the Colorado Eagles 1 year, and then was not signed an extension by the Avalanche, and then got signed to the New Jersey Devils. Right now, the draft's about to start. I'm not going to have this in front of the computer the whole time. If you can see a nice Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg Euro Twins jerseys by those two boys in the front. As we see the draft, Gary Bettman, of course, explaining things. I won't look at the front as much to that as I will be getting ready to talk about the draft. I got to get gas, Constantine says. Okay. And, this is amazing. Gary Bettman just brought out the Twins, two of the greatest players in National Hockey League history. In my opinion, the third and fourth best players behind Peter Forsberg and Nick Lidstrom in Swedish history, Henrik and Daniel Sedin. But unlike those two, they never won a Stanley Cup, but definitely two of the most amazing players in National Hockey League franchise. And I love them. I'm one of the teams I'm passionate about, besides the Devils, are the Vancouver Canucks. So this is amazing. Amazing for the team, amazing for the franchise, amazing for the organization, amazing for the city. So just wanted to show you guys that, if you guys can see correctly. Like pan down. Definitely amazing. Jim Benning. Well, Jim Benning isn't even clapping because he knows he has business to do, that the phone's unhooked. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible. Okay. And just showing. All right. They're showing more of the Sedins. What's amazing, I was looking at as a sheet from that time, was that Henrik and Daniel Sedin were ranked lower than Stepan. Tomas Stefan, who was the famous Dallas Stars player who tripped on the wide open empty netter, which led to Alex Hemsky tying the game in a regular season shootout loss, but the Oilers would end up going to the Stanley Cup that year anyway. You guys really enjoyed that, but this is amazing for the city and for the Twins. And I think if you're the Vancouver Canucks and Bowen Byram is still on the board, you have to get him. This is a building team. Obviously, we know of Elias Pettersson. He just won the Calder Trophy. They've got a young goalie in Markstrom for Vancouver. We'll talk a little more when Vancouver's pick is up at 10. Just so you guys know, so if you want to know, I'll read the picks out really quickly. The first pick belongs to the Devils, second to the Rangers, third belongs to the Chicago Blackhawks, fourth to the Avalanche via the trade with Ottawa for Brassard. The fifth, not Brassard, Duchesne, excuse me. The fifth belongs to the LA Kings, sixth to the Red Wings and Steve Yzerman, seventh to the Buffalo Sabres, eighth to the Oilers, ninth to the Anaheim Ducks, 10th to the Vancouver Canucks, 11th to the Philadelphia Flyers, 12th to the Minnesota Wild, 13th pick is Florida Panthers property. The 14th pick is Arizona Coyotes property. The 15th pick belongs to the Canadiens of Montreal. The 16th pick is another Colorado selection. The 17th pick belongs to Vegas. The 18th pick belongs to the Dallas Stars. The 19th selection belongs to the Ottawa Senators via the Columbus Blue Jackets. The 20th pick belongs to Winnipeg. That pick that was the Hayes pick that got back to them via Trouba trade. 21st belongs to the Pittsburgh Penguins. The 22nd pick belongs to the Los Angeles Kings. That Los Angeles King pick is via the Jake Muzzin trade. The Kings, of course, get that one. 23rd belongs to the Islanders. 24th to the Predators. 25th to the Capitals. 26th to the Calgary Flames. 27th to the Tampa Bay Lightning. 28th to the Carolina Hurricanes. 29th to the Anaheim Ducks via a trade with the Buffalo Sabres with one of their young defensemen, Brandon Montour. And that Buffalo pick is way of San Jose because of the Evander Kane trade. The 30th selection goes to the Boston Bruins, and the 31st selection, last selection in the first round, belongs to the Buffalo Sabres, which was taken from the St. Louis Blues via the summer trade with future Conn Smythe winner Ryan O'Reilly, and that'll be in the first round. If you guys got that. Teretian Piohat, I hope I said that correctly. Film your TV. When the pick, hey, I want to just talk to you guys. When the pick is being announced, I will completely film it and I will show it and then show some prospects of it. But I'm also getting this discussion with you guys and stuff. So now my New Jersey Devils have the first selection, and as I said, they'll give them, they believe, the 5 minutes that is necessary. No, it's actually 3 minutes. It's lower in the National Hockey League. But you have to take Jack Hughes. You absolutely have to take Jack Hughes. There is no other option but to take this player. Also, can you guys hear the TV okay? Hopefully you guys can. Okay. It's a little too loud. You watch a little of Jack Hughes as I had shown you.
It's speed, it's elusiveness, and it's finishing ability. If you're Detroit Red Wings fans, we kind of remind you when Steve Yzerman scored a goal just like this against the Pittsburgh Penguins back in the early 90s.
If you watch here,
Hughes would be the 8th American-born player to
Jack Hughes, of course,
overall in the NHL draft.
just a great player.
To the 6th American.
We will see. We will see. Obviously, with the Devils, move to the left. I will once I get. I will move more right. I will move more to the left once I get to that point. Here's let me just set something up.
Trading me off, yeah, he's a second in that.
Treated him well and continues to pour on the praise. I feel like when smaller players come into the league, as Patrick Kane, it seems easy to compare them to a guy like me. But I think Jack Hughes does a lot of things.
Okay, so I got that up. As they're still looking at who it would it be Jack Hughes? Would it be Capocacco? I think it absolutely has to be Jack Hughes. As I have said, the explosiveness. I think he's like an Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews, Patrick Kane, he's got that type of guy. And a Nathan McKinnon, he's got the speed, he's got the skill, got the hockey smarts too. And also he fills a need. As they're comparing him to Patrick Kane and Steve Yzerman, two probable Hall of Famers. Yzerman, of course, already one of the greatest players ever. And Kane on his way to that. But for Hughes, he's a can't-miss talent. But also for Jack Hughes, I really think he's something special. So,
immature kid, and he hasn't really grown yet. He's got an unbelievable first step acceleration.
But as I said, he fills a need, and New Jersey has just put their pick in, and Ray Sherrill's getting the former Penguin general manager getting ready to present the pick with general manager, Commissioner Gary Bettman.
I want to call him the poor man's Connor McDavid, but again,
I will show you the selection I will show you the selection as I was going to say as it's being made. Cheryl just going onto the screen. You look at the last two picks. I said Nico Hischier, he's already a star, and
he obliterated the national team
and others.
Scoring record, which was held for a long time. I mean, he's an unbelievable talent and a deep competitor.
So Jack Hughes waiting. Same thing with Capocacco.
And obviously Capocacco right there.
Their way onto the stage.
Hopefully you guys can see there. Here the selection is about to be made.
In the 2019 NHL draft.
Where's Cheryl's found his way to the mic? And here we go.
On behalf of the New Jersey Devils and our managing partners, David Blitzer and Josh Harris, thank you to the city of Vancouver. From the World Championships, World Junior Championships, to the week of the draft, it's been fantastic, gracious. Everybody's had a great time. Thank you so much. Also, the Aquilini family, thank you for your hospitality. The St. Louis Blues, it was worth the wait. Doug Armstrong, Craig Berube, and to welcome the first selection in the 2019 draft to the Devils will be a Hockey Hall of Famer, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, and whose jersey is retired by the Devils in 2016. And we also want to say, hope everybody down at Championship Plaza in Newark, New Jersey is having a great time. To make our first selection, Martin Brodeur.
So here he is, the greatest player in the history of the National Hockey League, Marty Brodeur.
With the first pick overall, the New Jersey Devils are proud to select from the U.S. program, Jack Hughes.
It is Jack Hughes. It is Jack Hughes, and he becomes a New Jersey Devil. I'm really excited for him, and for my team, and for them. So, yeah, it's Jack Hughes. You're welcome, Alec Place. It's Jack Hughes, fundamental player. I think this is going to be – there's some good rookies from next year, but this guy's going to be the Calder champion next year. He is a fantastic player. I relate him to Austin Matthews, but he could be even better. That was the guy you needed to take with the New Jersey Devils. Oh, Alec Plays, you're a Coyotes fan? You like the Devils? Yeah, they're good. But, yeah, he'll be great. If you are a Coyotes fan, Alec Plays, I will tell you that your team with Rick Tocchet, the head coach, former Flyer and Coyote forward, he is getting this team to where they need to be. Clayton Keller, an incredible player, and the Coyotes are going to get better and better with their young players, and I think Arizona will end up taking Arthur Kaliev from Hamilton. Who do I think LA will take? Trevor Zegras. Trevor Zegras. And yes, Alex Plays. Yes, they are getting better and better. Fun team to watch, too. But no, I think Trevor Zegras, a great player from the university, the U.S. National Development Team. He'll be good for the Kings. I don't know if Luc Robitaille and the coaching staff there in Los Angeles wants to keep a guy like that, wants to start him immediately. But Zegras has speed and he has power that we've never seen. Also in the local news, the New York Rangers right now are on the clock. They're about to make their pick. Behind them, of course, the third selection belonging to Stan Bowman and the Chicago Blackhawks, and the fourth pick belonging to Joe Sakic's Colorado Avalanche. I think for the New York Rangers, you have no other option but to take Capo Caco, and I believe that's the guy you're going to have to go take. Jack Hughes, the newest New Jersey Devil, just making himself down the stage. That's a great way to start for the free agents. And the Canucks fans immediately boo the New York Rangers selection being announced, or that they are on the clock due to the 1994 Cup final win. Yes.
Great people, great
Hughes is, yes, the 8th American to be drafted number 1 overall, first since said Austin Matthews.
Great players as well. You get the opportunity to play with 2 other number 1 overall picks in Taylor.
Kemi Sarowek, what link are you speaking of?
So many good players in the league.
I will send it as soon as possible.
Like I said, be part of that.
So what link is that? Kemi Sarowek.
Jack, there was a huge watch party back in New
Thank you, Alec Place.
You be selected. We're going to show you some video, but this is the fan base you get to go home to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Looks like a really dedicated group, so I'm hoping to play for them for a lot of years to come.
Jack, congratulations. Enjoy this. Darren, over to you.
Thank you.
All right, KT, thank you. I'm with Ellen Hughes, Jack's mom, and we were just talking off camera here. Even though we speculated for so long that Jack would go first overall, you weren't 100% convinced, or you wouldn't buy into it.
We didn't know. We had no idea.
I have 1.3K subs. Hard work pays off. Thank you, Alec. I really appreciate it. This is something I've been working at. I'll actually sub to you again if you give me it.
You should be. All 3 of your boys exceptional skaters, and you deserve some credit for that because you played a role in their development. Is that?
Yes, I'm showing you the television on the computer.
Well, I think it was.
I really appreciate Alec Plays. At the end of this, either tonight or tomorrow, at the end of this draft, I will definitely sub to all of you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get a haircut. Hope you get a good one.
Learned to skate, so it's been a long journey, and we couldn't be prouder. And it's just what a blessing, and we're really excited to see where this journey is going to take them.
You bet. It's going to be a great ride. We'll let you grab a tissue. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Darren.
All right, Catherine.
All right, thanks. I'm with General Manager Ray Shiro. The moment has come and gone. You select Jack Hughes, number 1 overall. What kind of potential does he have as a player?
He could be a star, no different than some of these kids in this wrap up for us. We felt with Jack, I mean, we've watched him a long time, no different than a lot of teams, and we got really fortunate April 9th to win the lottery. It's a special day for our franchise, but Jack he thinks the game at such a high level.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you Coyotes do good. That's the other franchise I like. Only in the Pacific for 2 more years, as you guys know. The New York Rangers have just put their pick in, so John Davidson and such get there quickly for that second overall selection that the New York Rangers are going to obviously have and going to use in, and I will show you guys.
Hughes was a fairly easy decision at 1. This becomes the easiest decision here, Greg.
I will show you guys later as that comes in.
From Finland, Capo Kakko, TPS Turku, and he really is a player that's ready to come into the league and hold his own and contribute to our young Rangers team. That you look at what Jeff Gordon has been able to do in there. Pretty impressive how they switched and now are becoming a real contender.
And if you're this kid, you're saying they got Mika Zibanejad, a fellow Swede playing in New York. He's going to teach me the ropes. I think he's fantastic. There's instantaneous chemistry in New York between Zibanejad and Kakko. Hello to our fans.
Oh, yes. Now the New York Rangers are about to take Jeff Gorton, of course.
With the second pick in the 2019 draft from TPS Turku, Capo Kakko.
Yep. The Finn is a Ranger. So the first 2, we expect it to go that way. And Carter thought, so who do the Hawks take? Excuse me, the television just messed up. Who do the Blackhawks take? Vasily Podkolzin. Vasily Podkolzin, he's the type of guy that you need to have. He's a fast passer, which works well with DeBrincat and Kane and Taves. He's that type of player. I'm hearing Zagreus. I'm hearing Turka a lot, but I think the Blackhawks, Stan Bowman, and that coaching staff there, they're going to take Vasily Podkolzin. But I could see a trade being worked here. So if that is obviously going to be had.
They take what is given to them, so they become very difficult. Then you combine it with a great determination and great competitiveness.
Interesting. A couple of Cosmos I've said that comparison for him is Patrick Laine. He is the perfect guy for them.
Talk about instant impact.
He can start right away. He can play for them right away. He's a perfect guy for the New York Rangers. He doesn't have to be a superstar, but he can be a superstar. Just a fantastic hockey player.
I think you're going to have the same thing, and they're only about 5 miles apart between Newark and Madison Square Garden. So I think that's going to be phenomenal. One other thing about Capo Kakko, Craig knows about this, Bobby does. Coming from Turku, they have developed some really good players there, including the 2 Koivu brothers, Saku and Mikko Koivu.
And Bob?
So now Chicago has just entered on the clock. There should be some intense booing here as well because of the rivalry this team has had.
Pretty impressive. And, it's very much near the American in this draft. We saw Hughes go number 1. It could be an epic year.
We'll see. Chicago obviously on the clock. Now, Bowen Byram, as I've said, would not be a bad pick here, but I think that's absolutely going to be. Yep, they've just announced it because you can hear the raining boos in Rogers Arena. Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of a guy like Bowen Byram, because of his absolute speed and power he's got. Yeah.
He is, and he got the second overall pick today.
Yeah, great player.
Talk to me about the potential that Capo has in this lineup for you guys.
Well, I think that
we've got about 2:30 left on the clock for the Chicago Blackhawks now.
As a youngster, he's always played with older kids, and then now he's playing in the World Championships before he's even drafted. It's quite a story for us in New York. This is a game
we'll definitely see. Rangers is better team to take Kakko. Yeah, they are, because the Devils' 2 best players are wingers. Kyle Palmieri, and Taylor Hall.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Kevin.
Capo Caco is a shoot guy. He can stick handle, but he can really shoot the puck. And you got great players there, Philip Heatle, just great players that can give him the puck. So you're absolutely correct, Into Ninja. They're the better team to take Caco. He wouldn't make sense in a Devil uniform where Hughes makes more of the sense. But the team that was obviously it was going to fly under the radar of the pick would be the Chicago Blackhawks, as Carter Foss had said. Really interesting for him, of course.
All right, so the first two picks are in, and there's no surprise. But this is where things get interesting. The Blackhawks are on the clock. Where do they go?
So now, is there going to be a trade? Stan Bowman's still speaking. They're getting ready to go. They've made their selection, and they have the jersey and the hat in hand. So this trade is going to be to a Chicago Blackhawk. It's not going to be traded. Bowen Byram is listed as the best player, and I really think he might be. But number 8, I know best is Vasily Podkolzin, but we will see if it is him, like I've said, or if it will be a guy like an Alex Turcotte or a Trevor Zegras. Maybe even go for a Kirby Dach at this point. I don't think so, but we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised with Kirby Dach because of the size, the elite level skill, and he might have the most ceiling of just about any of the forwards.
I have Kirby Dach going to the Detroit Red Wings. That'll also be an interesting selection when Steve Yzerman makes his pick. They're about to make their selection. Let's tune in.
None of those guys are close to being a number 1 defenseman.
And remember this about Chicago last year: only Ottawa gave up more goals than Chicago Blackhawks last year.
They need help on defense. They
Right.
did not make
So
the
do you
playoffs
take
last
Bowen
year. They
Byram
still
at this
have
point?
Kane and Taves in their prime.
A 2-year streak of not making the playoffs.
Year in, year out for the Blackhawks.
Kenny Taves never had that. So here's Stan Bowman's about to make his selection.
The city of Vancouver and the Vancouver Canucks for their hospitality this week. I also want to say hello and thank you to all the Blackhawk fans at our official watch party at Joe's Live in Rosemont. With the third pick, the Blackhawks are proud to select from the Saskatoon Blades, Kirby Dach.
Kirby Dach does go to Chicago, as most people did not predict, and as I did not predict. So Vasily Podkolzin still on the board, as well as Turcotte, and as well as Bowen Byram. Now comes the point in time where you start to look at a player like Bowen Byram, and now, of course, the playoff Colorado Avalanche at the 4th pick. Kirby Dach, big defensive center, but he can really whip the puck. The National Hockey League analysts are comparing him to Ryan Getzlaf. I will give the comparison to Ryan Getzlaf's former teammate Corey Perry. But yeah, that's a great selection for the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of people didn't see it coming. It's the first Canadian off the board at number 3. But these were the big 3 things. Of course, his general manager in Saskatoon compared him to Pavel Datsyuk, which I don't know if that's the best comparison, but that's the type of player that if you can get that for Chicago, you may be getting back to that level that they were a few years ago when they were constantly into the playoffs. They do believe that Kirby Dach will end up playing in the American Hockey League first and not in college, but not in the National Hockey League. I think he could make the team later in the year. Yeah, he probably doesn't make the opening roster. Colorado Avalanche right now are on the clock. Los Angeles and Detroit behind them. As well, yeah. So it's Kirby Dach, big guy, likes to pass the puck. Good, it's the kind of guy you're getting. Like I was saying, Vasily Podkolzin, but they really saw Kirby Dach being that selection.
And he can thread the needle with those passes in tight areas.
The number one still on the board is the fantastic defenseman Bowen Byram, who could make the Colorado defense even better. Obviously, you have other players such as Zegras and Turcotte, as I had said. It depends what Colorado wants to do. I have Colorado taking Alex Turcotte, the best American available. But if they want to go defense, they can go defense. Maybe Byram, but most of these players, as good as they'll be, will probably not make the Avalanche roster because this is a team that has made the playoffs 2 straight years and took the Sharks to 7 games in the second round. It's built for the playoffs. I wouldn't say it's a playoff contender yet. You have to see a little more. But you're starting to see this is a team that's kind of getting built for the playoffs. They're built for winning. And a young player is going to not make it immediately, of course.
Physically, he's got NHL size right now. So you can't put too many expectations on it. But he's going to have every chance to be on our team.
Stan, thanks so much.
We'll see, of course, if this pick is up to be dealt or if the Colorado Avalanche are going to go ahead and take their player.
Of course, they play hockey about 10 miles away from where the Rangers play at the Garden. Capo Caco, the Finnish forward, bigger, a goal scorer. He goes number 2 in the draft.
See, it looked like they're going to go to commercials soon. But we'll see where Colorado goes, obviously, as soon as
Now we have the Colorado Avalanche on the clock. Their team had made the playoffs.
as soon as they go through with this.
Thanks to that trade with Ottawa in 2017 that sent Matthew Shane to the Senators. So, if you're Colorado right now, your team made the second round of the playoffs. What do you think?
Colorado just their picks in. They're not going to trade like they did last year.
When you think of a Colorado Avalanche team that already has Cale Makar,
They're going to take
they
will take from
in the
them.
playoffs. And Samuel Girard, boy oh boy, the Colorado Avalanche are getting loaded on the blue line if they do as we think they will here and take Byram. It's the Boston Bruins model. Boston has Charlie McAvoy, Torrey Krug, Max Risser, and Brandon Carlo.
We'll end up seeing if Bowen Byram does get taken, which would be an absolute perfect move for the Colorado Avalanche, or if they take Alex Turcotte, like I believe they will.
Byron Bowen will play. Bowen Byram, will play next year in the National Hockey League. I'll say this about Bowen Byram: he has the skill, but he also has an extreme amount of confidence. So you might think he can forecheck.
So let's listen in Joe Sakic for the Colorado Avalanche's pick.
Thank back to Levy family, Vancouver Canucks organization, and the great fans of Vancouver for this tremendous week we've had. It's great to be home. With our 4th pick, Colorado Avalanche are proud to select from the Vancouver Giants.
Bowen Byram goes to the Avalanche. So Bowen Byram to Colorado is an absolutely wonderful pick, and this might be one of the better picks in the entry draft. So as he does go to Colorado, this is a guy that could start next year, but he definitely will make the Colorado team better. Absolutely incredible. They're relating him to Duncan Keith. He's not like most defensemen I've ever seen. The one that I think of is Victor Hedman. His skating's incredible. You watch his defense, he just sticks very well to him, but his offense is absolutely amazing. He can stick through, shoot from any angle. He's got an amazing shot. I really love this hockey player. It's a great pick by Joe Sakic. The Avalanche are building a team that might be a Stanley Cup champ. This team might win the Stanley Cup in about 2 years. And this is absolutely a perfect pick for the Colorado Avalanche. And obviously, clearly winning the trade of Matthew Shane. So now Colorado's pick there. Now the Kings are on the clock. They wanted a higher pick because they were dreadful with only 71 points. But
LA is on the clock. 4 to
They will go to commercial now. I picked Trevor Zegras to go there, but you got Alex Turcotte or Zegras. Peyton Krebs is on the board. Dylan Cousins on the board. Vasily Budkolzin. I think here you have to go for either Zegras or Turcotte. I don't think you have an option. Maybe Cole Caulfield, but I don't know. I would take Turcotte at this point. I have been taking Zegras anyway. Los Angeles, of course, they need offense. Absolute offense at this point because of how they've been with their team, Kopitar, Brown. But you need young offense, young speed, like Dustin Brown, or not Dustin Brown, like Tyler Toffoli is. Young and speed is exactly what you need. But obviously, whatever pick is probably going to benefit the Kings in the long run. Obviously, you don't want to miss on a pick. And I get that. But this isn't something you should immediately regret. I don't think.
Hey, Rick, take your voice medal. Give me some calls.
Bob Shields your order.
Yeah, I'm pretty much a regular here. Where there's hockey, there's Duncan. So grab a cold for game time. America runs on Duncan.
I'll see that, obviously.
The St. Louis Blues are Stanley Cup champions. Gear up with the official cup.
And I really think, if you guys, anybody who's watching, because the commercials and during times when they're saying who should take what, it kind of gets repetitive and boring. So if you guys have any questions or anything to ask me or any kind of topic, we can talk about that, or any suggestions. We can talk about that during the commercials / the analysis before the picks are being made. So if you guys wanted to ask anything or say anything, I'm ready.
Back in Vancouver, Jack Hughes
Ready.
Good in black and red, the first overall pick in the 2019 NHL draft, the newest New Jersey Devil, and the 8th American to be selected first overall. Remember, it was just a couple years ago that Austin Matthews became the 7th, often compared to Patrick Kane, who was the 6th American. Now it is the LA Kings. They are on the clock, and we look at the best available, and there is a whole lot of red, white, and blue on that list.
So the Kings, Luke Robitaille and other management they have made their selection. They have said who their selection is, and they have made their selection for Los Angeles. So this pick is not to be traded. This pick will stay where it is at number 5 with the Detroit Red Wings and the Buffalo Sabres behind them. And they're about to select the pick. Let's take a look at who that may be.
He's a big right shot centerman, so Turcotte gets to come into a situation that is good. Kupari had a really good year in the SM Liga this year with Karpov Oulu, so they're setting it up the middle of the ice very nicely.
On behalf of the LA Kings, we want to thank Francesco Aquilini and Jim Benning and the great city of Vancouver for hosting us. Thank you very much. We want to say a shout out to our fans in Los Angeles, especially our season seat holder at our downtown draft party. And Tony Gasparini will do the pick for us.
So here comes the selection.
The Los Angeles Kings are proud to select from the United States Hockey League, Alex Turcotte.
Turcotte does go. Turcotte, as I said, was the proper pick. Turcotte does go to the Los Angeles Kings. Why did Chicago take Doc? It's a good question, Carter Thoss. I'm not sure. I think they wanted offense. They wanted a center depth in there. You could have taken a wing. I mean, you could have taken Turcotte, but maybe they see they really were sold by the scouting reports of Doc. They really thought he was a fast speed guy that could go with the Chicago Blackhawks, but also stick check. Now, whoever they take is going to go to the American Hockey League, of course. He's not going to start immediately, but that's a good point.
Will he go to the University of Wisconsin and play for Tony Granado, Marco Siki, Mark Struble, and strength coach Jim Schneider, or will he go play Major Junior? But he's not that far away from being in the NHL.
They are scouting Turcotte and saying he's not going to play with the Kings next year, but he will play. I could see him actually play, maybe not making opening night, but playing later in Los Angeles.
And he plays that game all the way through. And you see his father there, Alfie, who was the first.
And I think, the question was, of course, the broadcaster said, would he go to the University of Vermont or would he go play Major Junior? I think he'll play in college. Vermont's a good university. They've got a good hockey program there. And now the Kings. Now one of the picks that was looked at and intrigued by many, and it's the Detroit Red Wings who are on the clock. Steve Yzerman's going to make his first selection as the head general manager of Detroit. And I'm there for the Red Wings. Their last pick last year, this very same selection, number 6, they took Philip Sedina. So we'll see who they take right now. Number 1, I had them taking Kirby Dach, but obviously he went to Chicago. Obviously, the number 1 guy right now is Trevor Zegras. But Colson's available. Krebs, Cousins, Newhook.
Well, I don't know if he's as much a Brad Marchand. I see more of a Patrice Bergeron, actually. A good playmaker, hard-working two-way forward.
All right, bragging rights in the house now goes to Alan. Yeah, you were drafted 17th overall back in 1983 by the Montreal Canadiens, so no issue with that, is there, as a dad?
Not any at all. No, I'm so proud of him. He's worked so hard to get to this point, and I'm just looking forward to see what he brings the rest of the way, right?
Really interested to see what Detroit takes because they've had some bad luck in the drafting department due to all the picks that have been traded. I really think you're going to get you're going to get potential of an incredible player that Detroit can take, hopefully, because this is a team that hasn't made the playoffs since 2016. And they haven't made the playoffs since 2016. They also haven't really been a force, I would say, even though they had that playoff run in 2013 since 2011. And they haven't been a dominant team in the National Hockey League since 2009. So there's that. Obviously, you have to make a whole rebuild with the Red Wings because of the streak that was of mass importance. 1:30 on the clock for the Red Wings. And we'll see if Detroit ends up trading this pick or if they go ahead and select, because we still haven't had a trade yet. We probably will have a few tonight.
Spencer's one of those players that a lot of people don't like taking goalies early on, but he can make a difference.
Zegras, I said, was up there. Cole Caulfield as well, Boldy. A lot of American teams. So we'll see what Yzerman does, of course. He's a great general manager with the Tampa Bay Lightning before Luke ended up taking over that team.
Russian players the Detroit Red Wings brought. Vasily Podkolzin is a Russian player.
We'll see if they go. And, of course, Bob McKenzie made a good point in the Red Wings taking Vasily Podkolzin, a European guy, because of the success that the Red Wings have had, the franchise has had with Russians, with Europeans in the past, as the pick is in guys like Nicky Lidstrom, guys like Johan Franzen, Pavel Datsyuk, Slava Kozlov, Fetisov, Larionov, Konstantinov, Fedorov, and others. And even as recent as Pavel Datsyuk and even Philip Sedina, Tomas Tatar. So we'll see what Detroit does here. Yzerman and the Red Wings are about to make their selection, number 6 overall in the draft.
Detroit is not in the same place as those teams. At this point, you would be right, but it won't take long before Steve Yzerman is going to be super aggressive and get that fixed.
Made the postseason 25 straight seasons, but have missed the playoffs the past 3 times. Steve Yzerman, Red Wings contingent up there. The pick is in here at number 6.
So
With
here
the
it
6th
comes.
pick in the draft, the Detroit Red Wings select from Mannheim with the DEL, Moritz Seider.
Moritz Seider, that is a shocker. That is an absolute shocker. This is a defenseman from Germany that was supposed to go, a European that was taken, was supposed to go about 17, 18, maybe not even in the first round. So, shock of the night, Detroit taking the Cell Germany native as a defenseman and absolutely no emotion on Steve Yzerman's face. I won't say this is a good or a bad pick because you can't really make these assumptions yet, but he's not going to make the Red Wings immediately. He's not going to make opening night, but he may make the Grand Rapids Griffins, and if he likes, if Steve Yzerman likes him, he might be a good player. We'll see. This could be a pick we look back on. And the fact that in the first 6 picks, 2 defensemen taken, Byram by the Avalanche and Moritz Seider by the Detroit Red Wings. He's a great defenseman defensively, but they said that offensively he's not great. He can work on that game, but absolute shocker by the Detroit Red Wings. And that means that the great American Trevor Zegras is still on the board. And if you're the Buffalo Sabres, you may have to jump on that, and I would absolutely jump on that. This is a really pivotal part because Jason Botterill, the general manager of the Buffalo Sabres, must be frothing out there because right now he's got a chance to take a player that he probably didn't think was on the board in Trevor Zegras. That would be perfect for Buffalo, the speed in the offense there, but very intriguing pick, and just gunslinging get him there by Steve Yzerman to go take Moritz Seider. Know that the Red Wings jumped to take Nick Lidstrom in 1990, and we know how that turned out for them.
Germany, they've had first-round picks before, but all were forwards. Most notably, you'd have to say Leon Draisaitl.
This is also the first ever time a German defenseman has been picked first round in the National Hockey League entry draft. Absolute shocker. If you thought Doc was a shocker for the Blackhawks, this even more. Even Moritz Seider was absolutely shocked. Tried not to show it, but he was absolutely stunned. Pick number 6 by Detroit. Absolutely incredible. That's why we watch this.
There, but I'm with Steve Yzerman, and if this was a no-brainer for you guys, why did you choose this player?
I wouldn't say it's a no-brainer, but he's a very good prospect. We felt kind of the top 5 kind of went somewhat as we expected, and there's a group of players. This next group of players, including Moritz, there's very good prospects. They're all good prospects. Ultimately, what we liked is a big defenseman who can skate, who has excellent hockey sense, and again,
we'll obviously see with that. Buffalo on the clock. They've got 150 left on their pick. Behind them is Vancouver rival Edmonton, Anaheim, and then behind Anaheim, we'll hear an uproar. Then the Twins will probably come up because at 10, the hometown Canucks select.
Our plan is to build through the draft, and the Red Wings have acquired a lot of picks in the last 2 drafts, and we'll continue to try and do that this year and next year.
So Buffalo, obviously, I don't think they, because of what happened with Detroit in taking Moritz Seider, I don't think that there's any question Zegras will be taken by Buffalo. I think at this point, Botterill would be stupid to trade the selection.
Significant level of surprise up here.
Yeah, for me, absolutely there was, because I think that as good as Moritz Seider can be as the type of defenseman I described him as, you have to put a stake in the ground if you're a team and say this is the guy we want, but I think there's better players available at 6. Now, here's the thing with Steve Yzerman in his new job in Detroit. While he was a consultant with the Tampa Bay Lightning in his final year of his contract, he spent
we look still along if you guys have any questions too as we talk through. If you guys have any asked. Buffalo is still on the clock. They have not turned in their selection to the commissioner. We'll see if they end up taking a selection, and the pick is in.
But there's a domino effect here.
And Botterill and the Sabres organization is going up to the stage. No trade, as was expected. And here comes the pick for Buffalo. I think it's absolutely Trevor Zegras would be the pick, but they like Dylan Cousins.
So Buffalo, a couple first-round picks, but here's the first one tonight.
The Buffalo
We'll see
Sabres
this now.
are pleased to select from Whitehorse and Lethbridge of the WHL, Dylan Cousins.
So Cousins does go to Buffalo. And that means Trevor Zegras' fall has continued. It has continued at the same level, and that means he is available to Kenny Holland and the Edmonton Oilers if they decide to take him at that point. But Dylan Cousins, yes, the Canadian, he's going to go at 7 to the Buffalo Sabres, a team that had the speed, they had the offense. Yukon native going almost as far as possible across the cold to Buffalo. But he'll be a guy in a Buffalo team that has speed and they have potential, run by Jack Eichel, but that is a team that needs some more offense. Again, I don't know if this guy goes to Buffalo. He'll probably go to Rochester first to play for the Americans. But for Dylan Cousins, absolute potential, absolute power, and good pick by them. I thought Zegras, but it's definitely a great selection to take Dylan Cousins. I had him going 9th to the Anaheim Ducks, but he does go number 7 to the Buffalo Sabres.
And here, Sabres fans have to watch that picture of O'Reilly with all the trophies in front of him, and now they get to see this picture of their newest player.
And this is a guy that helps you win big games because you can grind out. Jason Bottrell's a big man.
Young,
for Cousins is compared to Jason Bottrell. He's a big man right now, and he's only 18 years of age.
A bigger player. That they needed that speed they had. And they're starting to get more size. You're starting to see the player type and playing type by the Buffalo Sabres. And now Edmonton is on the clock behind them, Anaheim, and then the big pick for the night, 10 for Vancouver. And here come the boos, of course, for an Alberta rival. And they are raining down now that Kenny Holland and the Edmonton Oilers are about to get ready for their pick. Now, does Ken Holland decide to trade this selection, or does Edmonton take? We have not had any picks yet go down through. I will tell you though, the entire Vancouver Canuck franchise would be booed out of this building if they would decide to trade their selection at 10. As the Devils did in New Jersey when they traded their 8th pick, which became Bo Horvat, to Vancouver and Schneider, of course.
Absolutely. True story.
It would work for me. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's an amazing moment.
Catherine.
All right, Darren, I'm here with Buffalo Sabres head coach Ralph Kruger, who just told me that Dylan Cousins is perfect. Why is he the perfect player for your team?
Well, we definitely love the size.
So 2 minutes left on the clock for Kenny Holland.
Speed and playmaking ability plus dangerous in front of the net. I mean, his character.
I'll see where he goes, obviously, with the pick and the selection.
Energy coming up on the stage, which, as a coach, you always
and an absolute pivotal time
we're excited to watch him in
for Edmonton. You need help for Connor McDavid. You need to give Connor McDavid all the help he can get, either on defense or offense. But I think just boosting his offense is something that is at a most important level. So I think Zegras maybe. But does Edmonton trade the pick? Maybe you want to get more veteran leadership or veteran help for Edmonton, or continue to build to the draft. I think Jesse Puljujarvi, the 2016 first-round selection, is a guy maybe to be on the trading block.
Maybe the results didn't come, but in and around the organization, what the Pagulas have done and
to be
overall
traded at
sports
some
science
point.
development that I found there is top notch, and I feel that we really have a foundation of people and of skill sets around this team to take it to another level.
Ralph, congratulations and good luck to you next fall.
Thank you very much.
Leah?
Canadiens and Sabres, new head coach. They have a new player looking for a new energy.
So Edmonton just made their selection. Their pick is in. We're getting ready to make that selection. There will be no trade now
He doesn't even understand what a big moment this is
for that. And now we will go through and look at
I would say Smarty
the Edmonton selection to be made by Kenny Holland, longtime Red Wings general manager.
All right, after this broadcast, we'll do the complete and full candy draft. I'll break it down, but here's
The
the
eighth pick in the draft, the Edmonton Oilers select from AIK Sweden, Philip Broberg.
Another guy that was not supposed to go that high. Reaching our Red Wing general managers. Kenny Holland reaches for Philip Broberg, and now you go to Anaheim, and Zegras is still available. As is Peyton Krebs. But Trevor Zegras was thought maybe even to go top 5, at least after that. And Trevor Zegras is still available, but Philip Broberg, a defenseman that I had going 20th to the Jets, ends up going number 8 to another Canadian franchise in the Edmonton Oilers. And he's a guy who can really shoot the puck from the blue line. Top, big, taller guy. And he skates well, yes, as the broadcaster said. Big guy, tall, fast, can skate well. He can help the Edmonton Oilers, but it just felt like that wasn't – it was a bit of a reach for Kenny Holland. And obviously you can't grade these players as of now, but it seems to be the big lanky defenseman for Edmonton, obviously, and he could help them. I'll see you there. And now Anaheim is on the clock. They're about to go to commercial. Anaheim obviously about to make some picks for them, for the Ducks. Bob Murray and that organization about to make make the selection. I think you have to go Zegras here. I really think so. It depends on how they looked at him, but 10th behind them is going to be the big selection for the home crowd with the Vancouver Canucks at 10. And obviously behind them at 11 are the Philadelphia Flyers. But right now we'll see for Anaheim what they decide to do with the pick. Just let me know, guys. Do you have any requests? Do you have anything you want to talk about? Just type or tell me as soon as possible. The 2 people that are watching. Please, that would be good.
Buy one of our most popular smartphones and get one free. More for your thing. That's okay.
I shouldn't be in control of this thing, but somehow I am. Your elbows, your shoulders, your arms, your wrists, it beats you up. If you're not in pain, you didn't try hard enough.
You may not have noticed, but it's all connected to the internet. Sure, it's YouTube, Netflix, and adorable selfies, but it's also high-octane gaming, security cameras, thermostats, your fridge, Wi-Fi speakers, smartwatches, workout equipment, pet feeders, and even crockpots. Seriously, and it's all on the same internet connection. With Optical, the most reliable internet in the U.S., your house can live up to its fully connected potential. Without it, not so much. Optical, with speeds that, according to the FCC, outperform Fios. Fellas, you may not know it, but it's possible to injure yourself during intercourse.
Okay. Anyway, that was not a first scene, but I really think now as you guys listen in that I want to talk about certain teams and certain times that are being spoken about. The summer, of course, for the Tampa Bay Lightning that have had some issues with. Tampa needs more toughness, I believe, and I'm not saying that they're bad, but they weren't able to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets because of toughness. And I think Braden Coburn was a good start, but you have to have guys that will protect forwards and just tough defensemen and tough forwards. And they might have to make some trades to get that going. This will be a very interesting offseason for them. All right, so the draft's back on. Cole Caulfield is available as well, a winger, as well as Zegras. And the Ducks pick is in.
And I know there's a bias. Box talks about the bias. We know biases exist, but the bottom line, the league needs goal scorers, and he's elite. And again, when you
the Ducks are about to make their selection.
All you think about is he has everything required to be an elite goal scorer.
The best available prospect still on the board right now, at least according to our rankings, is Trevor Zegras, the teammate and at times line mate of Cole Caulfield. I would think that's the direction Anaheim will be looking.
So Zegras, of course, I don't know. Let's listen in.
To select from the USA Development Program, Trevor Zegras.
So Zegras does go to Anaheim. At number 9.
Super slick, super fast.
That's where he goes. No trades there, but Zegras is going to go to Anaheim. The Bedford, New York native.
There's some similarities between Palmieri and Zegras. The one thing I think this player has
A big hometown center. He can play well. He can skate. A good shot. Probably won't start for Anaheim, but he can play in the American Hockey League for San Diego. And now comes the moment these fans are waiting for. Zegras will get the jersey and everything up in the stage because Vancouver is about to get ready for their selection.
Backhand sauce to me through three guys.
I was just run off my defenseman, and I knew there were going to be sticks there, so I tried to sauce it.
Hughes got the shot! It's
You always got to be ready to have the puck in your stick.
Zegras definite good pick for Anaheim, trying to build up on offensive skill and offensive ability. Of course.
And you get a player like this, you get creativity.
So now, as Zegras is taken by the Ducks, and he will go to Boston University. I will play for them for a year. Anaheim, we'll see how he does there. Not a great goal scorer at this point. And now it's been announced Vancouver is on the clock. Getting ready to hear the roar, of course. On the crowd. It will be incredible to see how they announce that, if the Sedins will come up and how that will work. Behind them, Philadelphia in 11th and 12th. Oh, Gary Bettman's going to the stage. Believe there is a trade.
10th selection in the 2019 NHL draft belongs to the Vancouver Canucks.
No, it was just Gary Bettman announcing the pick because of the home ice, not a trade.
Maybe to try to move down, maybe to be a trade. We'll see.
We'll see if the Canucks make a splash, but first let's go to...
Go Canucks go, being belted around in this arena. An amazing atmosphere. 2:30 left on the pick for Vancouver.
What does that mean to you when you hear that?
Alex Newhook's available.
He's a tremendous player. Just a really exciting guy. So not a lot of words.
When you heard your name called, what was your initial reaction?
Matthew Boldy, Cole Caulfield, as well as Kim York and Arthur Kaliev. I had Vancouver taking Alex Newhook from the Victoria Grizzlies, but I personally at this point think that the Canucks will end up with Cole Caulfield, who's another center. They want to build on centers. You think of that great 2011 conference final, cup final team. They had center depth, absolute center depth, offensive depth, tough offensive depth, but depth on all wings and all centers. So if the Canucks want to build back into a Stanley Cup contender, that's what you need.
Matthew Boldy would be one for sure. Peyton Krebs,
So I think Matthew Boldy, they're speaking also would be a good player who I have going to the next pick in Philadelphia. We'll see. Podkolzin will be another interesting pick. He's still on the board. He was 8th ranked. He'll be available. I picked Peyton Krebs. Yep, he is also available. I picked Newhook, but I think it'll be Caulfield to Vancouver.
So about a minute remaining for the Vancouver Canucks there.
And the Canucks pick is in. Jim Benning will head up there.
You're feeding off this crowd. You know Vancouver wants to make a splash, but you have to build for the future at the same time. What decision are you making?
Podkolzin is who I would take. I think he's the best player.
No trade. It will be a Vancouver selection. Right. Elias Pettersson, talk about Bo Horvat. Linus Karlsson's going to come in through and be a great player, I think, in the American Hockey League for the Utica Comets. So they're getting ready. Hometown Canucks, and then just so you guys know after that, Philadelphia will pick, and then Minnesota. And soon they'll be getting into the playoff picks.
He went 7th last year to Vancouver. He's up on stage.
And there, of course, is Jim Benning, the great general manager of the Vancouver Canucks.
We can't wait to hear who it is.
And we'll see what
wait to hear the reaction
Vancouver will do. And a lot of men up there for the pick.
Vancouver is proud to host the NHL and its club members to the 2019 draft. I'd like to acknowledge our season ticket holders and our fans here in Rogers Arena and everywhere else. I'd like to thank you for your passion and your support. The 2019, the Vancouver Canucks draft from St. Petersburg of the KHL, Vasilia Podkolzin.
So Podkolzin goes to Vancouver. Terrific winger, and that is what Vancouver is doing. They're building on the wings. They're building on the wings. You think of Chris Higgins, Alex Burrows, all the great Canucks players that starred in the past on those great teams in the late 2000s, early 10s. And they go and take a guy that won't be ready yet, but Podkolzin at 10. I didn't think he was going to drop that far. I had him going to the rival Blackhawks at 3. But Podkolzin, a terrific skater, he'll go number 10 to the Canucks, and he's not ready yet. This is actually a great pick by Jim Benning. And Vasily Podkolzin will play for the Vancouver Canucks at some point in his career early on. He won't make the opening night team today, but he will make this hockey club. And this is a great pick by Jim Benning, building for the future.
He absolutely dominated the competition. At the World Junior Championship, he was outstanding. We're warming up to this pick a little bit here in Vancouver, because when they first heard it, they weren't sure what to think.
Philadelphia now, as they're getting ready for Podkolzin in Vancouver. Philadelphia, Chuck Fletcher getting ready for their pick. They're on the clock at 11. And then trailing them is Minnesota at 12 and the Florida Panthers at 13. And the 2 more picks left, and that will end the quote-unquote lottery picks of the regular season teams, and then it will go into the teams that are picked by playoff position.
Each of those teams had to wait 4 years for Kuznetsov and Tarasenko. It's a 2-year wait for Podkolzin. I will tell you this, in all my years in the NHL, we never had a problem getting a Russian player.
Yeah, they have contracts, but like this idea that because they have a contract you can't get them, never had an issue with anyone.
Obviously, Vancouver taking Bo Horvat, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, stars.
So I'm going to tell you, one Russian they took here in Vancouver, they took Pavel Bure, and his number's retired here. And that guy was a superhuman type player. I'm not saying he's going to be Pavel Bure.
Vancouver really hit a home run with this Pike Olsen pick, though. We'll see for Philadelphia. And for Philadelphia, no Zegras, taken by the Ducks, of course. But Peyton Krebs is available still from the Kootenay Ice. A big-time shooter, not really a passer, but he can really wind the puck up. And Alex Newhook is available. Cole Caulfield's still there if you want to take him for the Philadelphia Flyers, or if they decide to trade the pick.
Get to play Jack a whole lot, but you should face off head-to-head. What should we expect?
Probably a good thing we don't see him a lot. It'll be fun, for if it's 1 or 2 games a year, it is what it is. But for me,
as well as Matthew Boldy, how I have been taken by the Philadelphia Flyers. And you know what? I'm going to stay with that pick. I think he will become a Philadelphia Flyer. A lot of options for Philadelphia. We'll see. And also, I don't have him high on this list, but a player to watch is Spencer Knight. Big goaltender. He's supposed to be the first goaltender picked in the first round in a long time, I believe, since Ryan Miller. And he has the potential, Jimmy Howard potential. He has one of the potentials to be one of the great goaltenders in this league. But I don't think the Philadelphia Flyers would be stupid to take a goaltender with the great goaltender they have in Carter Hart. And Philadelphia Flyers fans, be excited. I think this team could become really dangerous. This could be one of the more dangerous teams that could make a magical run to the Cup like we saw in St. Louis. This is a Flyer team that can get fast, big, tough. They've got about everything. Just got to work on their team unity a little bit, what they do in free agency. But for Philadelphia, Chuck Fletcher, the former Wild GM, the Flyers are still on the clock, but the pick has not been submitted in. Still on the phone. We'll see if they go and take or if they go to trade the pick. It's about 10 seconds left, and they have not submitted with the pick in. And we'll see what happens. They're about to end on the clock. There's a trade. A trade is announced. Philadelphia will not be selecting.
Philadelphia trades the number 11 pick in this year's draft, the pick that's pending, to Arizona for the number 14 pick in this year's draft and the number 45 pick in this year's draft.
Wow.
Philadelphia trades 11 to Arizona for 14 and 45.
Okay, so a trade. That's my trade music. Philadelphia trades a second rounder and that they trade their 11th selection to the Coyotes for the 14th pick and a second rounder coming up tomorrow afternoon. So,
okay, I see. No, it's in the car.
We will see. When that will be, but interesting pick. Arizona, they wanted to jump up. They wanted to jump up and grab a top-tier player. So we'll see what Arizona does here. Arizona obviously missed in 2016 a big American. Do they take one now? You take Peyton Krebs. They want the offense. They really wanted to make a splash and get a great offensive talent. So, I think you're looking at you're going to look at Cole Caulfield here to the Arizona Coyotes. Big American kid, good scorer, can really play the puck. I think that's the type of
Last year, the internet told IHOP to stick to pancakes. Well, here they are. Pancakes with all natural.
guy really
Isn't that
look
right,
at.
Mr. Pancake? It's a pancake.
But that's a burger one starting at $6.99. IHOP.
And really see
Coors Light is cold filtered. For brightness and clarity, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Light. Spain's Grand Naked Stream Bacon Burger from McDonald's. Again.
how that will obviously work out for the Arizona Coyotes. And they're on a commercial on the network, but once this is over, they're going to immediately pan to the broadcast. I will show you because the Coyotes are making their way up to the stage right as I speak. Getting you guys ready as they still continue to air the commercial, but this, of course, the Coyotes pick number 11 in the entry draft 2019. And here it is.
Strange draft day. It is 9:18 Eastern time. We finally get the first transaction. Arizona trades up to the number 11 spot. They give up the 14th pick and the 45th pick, and the pick is in for the Coyotes.
For our fans watching back home, thank you for your continued support.
Rajan
Thank you
Shaika,
to
of
the
course,
city of
now
Vancouver,
to take
Ackley
the pick for
family,
Arizona.
Jim Benning, the entire Canucks organization for being tremendous hosts. Making our selection will be our assistant general manager, Lindsay Hoffer.
Arizona Coyotes are proud to select from Brynäs in the Swedish Hockey League, Victor Soderstrom.
So Soderstrom goes, who I had going 23 to the Islanders. He ends up going number 11 to the Coyotes, and the fall continues for Cole Caulfield as the Wild get ready to pick now.
He could go. All in Rockland Larson gets a countryman in terms of the Arizona Coyotes. And Jacob Chikrin gets another good young defenseman to play with. So they're starting to trend in the right direction. Obviously, not a lot of depth on their defense, but this will help a lot, Greg.
Well, Victor Soderstrom is a finesse defenseman. He passes the puck well. He's got poise and a real good temperament on the blue line. You know, you might be under pressure, but he understands where the next play needs to get to, and he's got really good hands. And the eyes are always up to make plays. Acquitted himself very well in the Swedish Hockey League with Brynäs. And you know, you think about how defensemen play the game and how necessary it is to get the puck moving on your defensive zone up the ice and really make strong plays with the puck. That's what Soderstrom does.
So, fourth G-Man, second from Sweden, selected tonight. He played 44 games in the top-tier Swedish league. Rarity for a player of his age. Turned 18 in late February. He says that was a great experience, something that could prepare him going forward. And it's a legit league where you're playing against them.
Oh, it sure is.
So we're back. So Victor Soderstrom, a good defenseman, a real finesse guy, can really play the stick well, obviously.
Still be able to excel in the critical areas.
So he goes
be successful.
there to the Coyotes.
So the Coyotes add a piece. They've not made the playoffs in the past 7 seasons. But
Very interesting to me. He's a good Swedish defenseman. I don't know how much I like the pick because
we will look ahead to Minnesota, the Panthers, and the Flyers.
I'm not sure because I thought they were going to really go there on defense, but on offense, excuse me, but they go for a defenseman, and it cost them a second-round selection. So now Minnesota Wild will have their pick coming up, one trade in this year's draft so far. Then Philadelphia with the 14th pick, which was Arizona's, 13th Florida, and then the Arizona Coyotes, Philadelphia Flyers have Arizona's 14th selection that was had by them. It's going to go on commercial until Minnesota will pick. So if you guys want to ask me any questions or talk to me or anything, that would be great. So Victor Soderstrom, Alec plays. If you want to come back, that is the selection.
caramel core that gets the job done. It's 10.5 centimeters of awesome, unless you get the king size, which is 14.7 centimeters of, oh yeah. Say it, get to it.
Do you ever guess who the Kings might take with number 22, or is it number 23? John Rocco. It's number 22. My guess is Ryan Suzuki from the Barrie Colts, which is a great program. There. I think Suzuki would be a good type player for them because you're going to continue with the offense. We saw that they ended up taking out Alex Turcotte. So it definitely helped them, but you want to continue with the offense, continue with the speed. Is Suzuki a winger? No. He's a center from the Barrie Colts. A winger, you want a winger, but this is not you want to take best player available, especially at that point. And Suzuki is definitely fits what the Los Angeles Kings want to do in their hockey club.
Makes sense for the Minnesota Wild in this spot?
Sure it does. They don't have goaltenders in the pipeline.
I just want to show you guys now.
He's played a lot of games as a 16 and 17.
The Minnesota Wild are about to pick. Here. Talking a lot about Spencer Knight. That would be a great pick for the Minnesota Wild, but I personally think that they will end up selecting. I said Cam York, but I think right now Matthew Boldy. I think Matthew Boldy, and I think Cole Caulfield will fall to where I had him, 13 to the Florida Panthers.
Second to the Americans. We'll see who the Minnesota Wild take right here.
It'll be an American.
First of all, I'd like to say hello to our fans in the state of hockey, to our draft party at Tom Reed's, and with our selection from the U.S. Team National Development Program, we select Matt Boldy.
He does go. Matty Boldy does go to Minnesota. So another winger for them. And this is good to know because of the absence. Well, not exact absence, but just the thought of the rumors of the trades of potentially dealing of Jason Zucker. So Matt Boldy is a quick to the stick type guy. He's got a great
power game. He can finish plays and he can make plays. And when you're playing with really top-end
he's a big guy. He has some sort of speed. That's good for the Minnesota Wild. You definitely want to continue with that, the youth and the speed that is had by Minnesota. And he's not going to start immediately, no. He's going to go to Boston College and play his hockey there. With a great coaching staff that they have there in their hockey program. So he could be a great player for the Minnesota Wild at some point.
So an all-around athletes and an American.
And now the Florida Panthers are going to be on the clock with the 13th selection. I had Cole Caulfield falling there in my mock draft before this draft even started, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think Cole Caulfield's improbable fall is going to stop at 13. And we've seen in the past Miami teams and their other professional sports stopping mega falls in their drafts. So it was a good pick for the Minnesota Wild, Bruce Boudreau and that Minnesota organization to go take Matthew Boldy. But we'll see what Florida takes. But what an amazing fall. If Cole Caulfield went to 14 to the Philadelphia Flyers.
So after those 5 kids left, guess what? They went right to the semifinals of the
But at 13, we'll see what the Panthers do. Two behind the Panthers who are now on the clock are the Philadelphia Flyers and the Montreal Canadiens. After the Canadiens selection, it will immediately go. It'll immediately go to the Montreal Canadiens, and behind them, it will go to playoff picks from there.
Let's hear from East 85 with Catherine Tapper.
Matthew, the guys on the panel talking all about your athletic prowess. You played so many sports growing up, and in 2017 decided to fully commit to hockey. But how much did the influence of the other sports help you become a better hockey player?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, you definitely playing a lot of other sports. You kind of find what you love. I mean, at a young age, I loved hockey, but my parents always encouraged me to kind of play other sports and kind of find what you love. And I mean, once I found hockey, it's kind of hard getting away from it. So.
Fourth ranked Caulfield, of course, Cam York. We'll see where he goes. He's another American.
Definitely the right choice, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So.
You committed to play at Boston College as a Massachusetts native.
He is the third. He is the one of three American players that were top U.S. developmental prospects that have not been drafted yet. Cole Caulfield, the center, who has been spoken about. Cam York, a defenseman, and the improbable goaltender, and Spencer Knight. I think Caulfield, in 2 minutes, will end up wearing the red and blue as a member of the Florida Panthers.
He just grew
the
a lot.
hockey club.
He just did awesome. He excelled at school, and he made a lot of friends, and he was very happy up there.
Well, if it's not the National Hockey League next year, it's Boston College. At what point did you and your family recognize that Matthew had a chance of going this high in the NHL draft?
Probably last year. We had kind of like a feeling that he was going to go high. So.
Enjoy it.
I know. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Liam.
Thank you.
Darren, thanks. So the fourth player from that U.S. national team development program in the top 12 taken, Bob, as we take a look at the top American prospects here.
Okay, we're officially on the Cole Caulfield watch now. You talked about Craig's man crush. Now, Craig, I know you have a man crush on Boldy, and you said you have one on Bobby Brink as well. Nothing compares
There's
to
a minute left on the clock for Florida.
You rank as the fourth best player in this
And we'll
entire
see if
draft.
they
This is a fascinating story now. When the
go
season
across
started,
with their selection
Cole Caulfield,
or what
said
they
he's gonna
do
be a
there.
first rounder because he's just like Alex DeBrincat. Alex DeBrincat went in the second round of the Chicago Blackhawks, scored 40 goals, so everybody said, we're not going to make the same mistake on Caulfield. He's going to go in the first round. You had him at number 4. I have him at number 9 on our list. Now we're sitting here, 12 picks in.
For Florida.
Gone, and it's starting to be,
And they got 30 seconds left on the clock. They have not submitted their pick in yet, but it's not likely that a trade will be in the works.
Now we'll move up with the U18 next year. I was in there in March, and we got talking about it. He said, just like Alex DeBrincat, teams are going to regret passing on Cole Caulfield. And, if you go back to that draft with Alex DeBrincat, arguably top 5 player, should have been drafted in the top 5 picks. And Seth Appert believes that that's exactly going to be the case with Cole Caulfield. I agree with him.
So the pick is in for the Florida Panthers,
He could
and
potentially be a top 3 here tonight.
And I'll tell you what, it will not sit well with him.
we're about to unveil.
They're all like brothers on that team. It will not sit well with him that right now he's
That's
at
selection
number
now.
5 in terms of the order of selection on that U.S. under-18 team.
Cole Caulfield, told you before, his teammates always describe him as a high-energy guy, smiling, upbeat. And now he's sitting here and he's just waiting, trying to be patient, Bob, as the Florida Panthers are up there and their pick is in.
Goaltender here?
The Florida Panthers select from the U.S. National Team Development Program, Spencer Knight.
Wow. Absolutely incredible. Spencer Knight, the goalie prospect. They already have a goalie prospect there in Florida. And the Panthers pull the trigger on an American, but it's not Cam York, the defenseman, and Cole Caulfield still on the board. It's Spencer Knight. He's going to be a great goalie, Connecticut native. He's going to go. He is going to go to college in Boston College, but they have a.
Yeah, he's got a chance to be the best American goaltender ever. Now, that's a lot of baggage to carry because John Gibson's doing a great job with Anaheim.
They really think like a Carey Price. I see a guy. I see him. You know what? I'm gonna go high too. I think like a Dominic Hasek even. Really amazing player. Wow. The Panthers already have Luongo. They already have another goalie prospect there. But
He went 11th overall in the 2010 draft to Dallas. He only recently became an NHL goalie and a backup with Los Angeles. This kid's a phenomenal athlete.
Spencer Knight,
6'4", and obviously the
absolute.
situation with goaltending.
They really think he is going to be one of the next great goalies in the National Hockey League and one of the better American goalies. And so Florida pulls the trigger. What a great pick by Joel Quenneville and that organization there in Florida. And Joel Quenneville knows goaltenders. Corey Crawford, Antti Niemi. You can go down the board. Grant Fuhrer when he was in St. Louis, and Roman Turek. Marty Turek, excuse me.
To become the best American goaltender ever.
And
the best New England-born goaltender ever is Tommy Barrasso, and he won 2 Stanley Cups, and he was an impact
now a
player.
big time player, Knight, and that was an incredible pick by Florida. I thought they were going to go with the American Caulfield, and they pull the trigger and get Knight. I had Knight going at 18th to the Dallas Stars to sit behind Benny Bishop, but no, he goes higher than that, 13th overall to Florida, and he's all smiles as the Panthers pull the trigger as they felt they needed to do. What a great selection by a team that looks like they're going to be busy in the offseason. I don't know if you're Florida, if you go shopping for Bobrovsky, they may not now because they believe they have the goalie of the future.
How about this? Just the third goalie to be drafted in the first round since 2012, and just the 10th American goalie to go in round 1. Spencer Knight is a Florida Panther, and he's with Cat.
Spencer, a special moment there just now, not only getting drafted, but an opportunity to talk to one of the greatest coaches of all time in Joel Quenneville. What did he just say to you?
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy to be on board here. And
so about 250 left in the next pick, and that's the 14th selection for Philadelphia. So they traded that selection away, and Nordstrom goes off the board. Boldy goes off the board, and now
you have a picture of a squid on your helmet.
the goaltender, Spencer Knight, goes off the board. So if you're Philadelphia, I think you have to hop on board and go take Cole Caulfield. But if they miss on him, Mark Bergevin would be drooling at the mouth to be able to take a player of the caliber of Cole Caulfield. We'll see how far he dips in this National Hockey League entry draft.
Memorable night for you, Spencer. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Only one trade so far, the Flyer trade. They got 2 minutes on the clock for their selection. Behind the Flyers, the 15th pick, the last non-playoff selection had by the Montreal Canadiens, and then the first selection held, either traded or had by a playoff team. It's the second pick of this first round of the Colorado Avalanche, and that's behind Montreal.
We talk a lot about how the size of a goaltender and how necessary that is.
And we'll end up seeing where that obviously goes. I have them taking Bobby Brink, Montreal playing Philip Tomasino, but Cam York, the American defenseman, is still available. Cole Caulfield is still available. Peyton Krebs still there. And we will see, obviously, what Philadelphia does. I know I've been saying this for the last few picks, but I think you have to pull the trigger and you have to take Cole Caulfield if you're the Philadelphia Flyers. It is a must-have, but I mean, I am shocked by the great pick of the goaltender Knight by the Florida Panthers. Now, Philadelphia is getting ready to have their selection to be taken, and I think, it's going to absolutely be Cole Caulfield.
Exactly scream Flyers and the Broad Street Bullies at 5'7", but again, he's still out there. Again, he is the best goal scorer in this draft.
I think the Philadelphia Flyers, have
and Chuck Fletcher and Alain Vigneault have done a great job this offseason. They've got Hayes. They've got guys like Justin Braun and Matt Niskanen. Well, I think it said it's not prototypical, but I think you have no option but to take Cole Caulfield.
They got enough big people there. Don't worry about size.
So we'll see where they go here.
Philadelphia is proud to select from the U.S. National Team Development Program, Cam York.
So another American goes, and it's Cam York. Cam York, a big defenseman, big size guy. They're continuing to build on the defensive blue line for the Philadelphia Flyers, and that means Mark Bergevin, general manager of a terrific Montreal team, has a chance to draft Cole Caulfield.
Third consecutive player selected for the National Team Development Program.
Every time I watch Cam York play,
And he is the second to last player. Obviously, Cole Caulfield, the only other guy.
the way he skates,
Um,
that confidence that
Cam York, a big time player and also a sizable player for the Philadelphia Flyers now that has been taken for U.S. national development team. And if you're Cam York, like, that's a great player that they've got there. Now, you think of the defensive blue line they've got. Now they're going to get Cam York, who won't play at the Philadelphia Flyers immediately, but he'll be in the organization. He'll the California-born guy. He can play at some point with the Flyers. Justin Braun is up there on the blue line. They've got Matty Niskanen, as was said. Ivan Provorov, Shane Gostisbehere, the Ghost Gostisbehere. Any chance Caulfield falls to the Kings? No, man. I mean, that'd be amazing for your team, the LA Kings, but no, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to go down there to 22. I think Bergevin would love a player like Cole Caulfield. You think of the Montreal Canadiens and what they've got there. I don't think there's any way that you pass on him.
Back in the junior Duck days. This is what it's all about. We see the families and we see the reactions.
Where's Keanu Thompson in that? Well, that's when he was coached by Scott Niedermayer, the Hall of Famer. Hey, listen, that team pushed one another to be better. Cam York, really
so we'll see what happens with the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, I think it's interesting that most of these American guys have been taken by American franchises, which has not been the case as of late, but it is the case today. So I think definitely 2:50 left on the clock for Montreal's pick. But this is the last regular season pick. By what I mean by regular season is it's the last pick that's a lottery pick, and it's also under the first 15 picks held by teams that missed the playoffs, where there are picks held by non-playoff teams that we'll later see, but they are acquired at some point by teams that made the Stanley Cup playoffs this past season.
I just felt like I go out there and just work on my hands and work on the stick handling and little stuff like that. So
For Montreal,
I get a lot of credit to really hockey.
you'll see where they go. A terrific team, a young team. The second straight year they've missed the playoffs, which is not at all usually acceptable for Montreal, but they were a team that was supposed to constantly be rebuilding, and they were eliminated on the second to last day of the season. They surprised a lot of people. They were in the playoffs bracket for a long time.
Yeah, and how about the Flyers cornering the markets on players with awesome red hair? Giroux, Gorjek,
To have a team like that will definitely be something to look at if they go for the speed and they go for the offense. All right, I'll call Caulfield, of course.
The night is young.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be interesting here because we talked about the Cole Caulfield story. We talked about the Peyton Krebs story. So we'll see what the Montreal Canadiens do here. The speculation in Montreal leading into this draft is that sitting at the 15th spot, that they're much more interested in a defenseman much more interested in a defenseman than a forward. So it'll be interesting to see if they make that decision.
So you know what's cool about this? Let's just say they take Cole Caulfield. A few years ago, they traded to get Andrew Shaw. They traded 2 second-round picks to Chicago to get Andrew Shaw. One of those second-round picks was Alex DeBrincat. That's what they used. So if they get Cole Caulfield, it's kind of everything coming back to Montreal.
Well, I definitely see, as I'm saying, Cole Caulfield would be great for the Montreal Canadiens, and I think, you have to take him if you're Montreal. And Marc Bergevin has just put his pick in for the Canadiens. They're about to announce, and we'll get ready to go look at that one as it comes up.
You don't need the instant impact either, considering the points they had last year, just outside the playoffs.
Okay, we've got Caulfield, Krebs, and Alex Ruhoff, the 3 forwards still on the board. Thomas Harley is our top-ranked defenseman from the
Now
Mississauga
Montreal's about to
Steelheads.
make their
Born in
selection
Syracuse,
here.
raised there, but played minor hockey in the GTHL, dual citizenship, and is chosen Canadian. So one of those 4 players would be a logical assumption at this point.
Lots of possibilities here for the Montreal Canadiens as they pick at number 15.
There's Bergevin to make the selection.
The Montreal Canadiens would like to thank the Canucks organization, the city of Vancouver, and the Aquilini family for their hospitality, and also the St. Louis Blues to be the Stanley Cup champion. Salutations à tous nos partisans à travers le Québec et le Canada. With our first pick, I'd like to, a native from Sycamus, BC, our captain, Shea Weber, will make our selection.
With the 50th overall selection, the Montreal Canadiens select from the U.S. National Development Program, Cole Caulfield.
Yep. So Caulfield goes to Montreal. They finally nab him, and at 15, the small center, the last American player, and he goes at 15 to the Montreal Canadiens, which is big, of course, for them and for that franchise there. They've been really working on young forwards, young small centers there in Montreal. And that's a guy that they really needed, and he is great at goal scoring, and that's what the Montreal Canadiens are trying to get. Guys that can score goals at times. Guys that when they get into their experience, they're going to be players that'll score goals in the playoffs. And the Canadiens on their runs, not so much when they were Titans in the league, but when they made their magical runs in 2010, 2014, they had guys that could score at any time of the ice, and you feared the Canadiens putting the puck in the net at any time. When they won the division, they're trying to get that back. Get rid of some veterans, got to get young players that can do that, and Cole Caulfield definitely helps, of course,
is an exciting team. This guy will help
with
provide
that.
it. The last guy from Wisconsin that played there that was a star player, Chris Chelios, a little bit different, but he made the Hall of Fame.
Well, at the Bell Center, when they got the ole going, it'll be Cole.
Cole Caulfield, 72 goals in 64 games, and you talk about size doesn't matter if you're this elite.
Hey, listen, Leo Messi's the best goal scorer on the planet. He's 5'7", so is Cole Caulfield. So that's my comparable for Cole Caulfield. This pass he takes, this is what stands out for me with Cole Caulfield. You take a pass, you get past the obstacle, you break down the goaltender.
Great player and a great hockey pick for Marc Bergevin and the Montreal Canadiens organization. I'm thrilled that we got Turcotte, but Caulfield is exactly what we need. Yeah, for LA, it definitely is for you guys. I also thought a goaltender, but we saw what happened with Knight going 13th to the Florida Panthers. Yeah. I would actually. I said that they would take the center.
What was that like? The weight.
Yeah, I mean,
Ryan Suzuki from the Barrie Colts, but I think if you're the Los Angeles Kings, you go on defense. You go to get a defensive player, and there's a lot of good defensemen coming up, but definitely it'll be good to see what happens between 22. Right now, the 16th pick is getting ready on the clock, and it's the second selection of the first round for the Colorado Avalanche. I had the Colorado Avalanche taking Bobby Brink, a right winger from Sioux City. Decent program. Guys that are also available that are taken Peyton Krebs, Kootenay Ice.
All right, Darren.
He's not a great puck handler or a skater, but he has one of the hardest shots right now out of any of these prospects, one of the more dangerous shots, a real goal scorer. I wouldn't suggest Colorado go for him, but Peyton Krebs is to come off the board at some point tonight. We'll see what Colorado ends up doing.
Them and to see them up there with their families get celebrating has been wonderful.
Yeah, talk about the relationships.
There.
His good buddy, Jack Hughes.
Oh, everybody there at the program has been wonderful. Those kids are so tight.
With there's about a minute and 20 left on the clock for Colorado's selection.
There's no animosity
That they have 16th overall.
They do a marvelous job. We're so blessed.
It's been a great day, hasn't it?
Like Colorado, and no trade for the Avalanche. They're about to get ready to select
Jack Hughes and Cole
their
Caulfield
pick
go
in
way back. These two high-scoring players.
already.
Kids,
Yeah, that's being said that Cole Caulfield and Jack Hughes, two best friends, so we'll definitely look for this coming season when the Devils play Montreal.
They had to split the puck. So they split the puck, and tonight they hug as they get set to take the next step in their careers and head to the NHL. Cole Caulfield headed to Montreal, seventh player from that U.S. national team development program.
And so all of the U.S. national development players have been selected in the first 15, and get ready for the Colorado Avalanche. We've already taken Bowen Byram.
The pick is in, and they got a gift earlier when they took Byram with the fourth pick.
And we'll see who they select.
If they're happy with
The Avalanche now.
medical report, what a nice little fit that would be behind Nathan McKinnon. Oh boy.
Second pick of the night for Colorado, a team that made it to the second round of the playoffs last year. The pick is in for the Avalanche.
So we'll see over what Joe Sakic
Colorado
does here.
selects from Victoria, the BC Hockey League, Alex Newhook.
Newhook does go now, which means Peyton Krebs is still on the board, but Alex Newhook, another good offensive player, good Canadian boy. So here he goes, a bigger guy, got good hands, good stick handler. So he could really play well with Colorado, really try and make the most of the picks as they can. If you guys are wondering, next up after Newhook is presented as the newest member of the Colorado Avalanche, will be the Vegas Golden Knights to take their first round selection. It'll be their first pick until the third round because they don't have a second round pick that is Ottawa property due to the trade from Mark Stone. But Vegas will pick next. And now Newhook, a strong physical prospect, which is definitely a necessity for the Colorado Avalanche. So they go and take him, of course.
World Championships in April, and Craig, you saw him there. He was very good. He really accelerated his game and solidified his spot as a top 15 pick in this draft, and he was just outside that.
And as a center, he's a nice fit behind Nathan McKinnon as well. Offensive player, very creative, really good playmaker, but he's got sneaky good goal scoring ability. And, when you have a Nathan McKinnon playing in front of you, it really helps you kind of ease in.
So Alex Newhook of Canada, the newest member of the Colorado.
Definite top tier player. They're going to go to commercial, so on the talk or anything. Oh, just wait on. All the American kids have been taken through, and the Golden Knights are on the clock. As they'll wait on behind them, the Dallas Stars and the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa selection coming from the Colorado trade for Zingle and Duchesne.
Good job, Duncan! Way to go!
It's not just easy, it's Geico easy.
Duncan, stay up. No sleepies.
Well, obviously, definitely see how that
Switch to Sprint and get our 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it for 30 days. Love it or get your money back. Come see why Sprint is the right choice and we'll save you money. Switch today.
Gatorade packs carbs to refuel and electrolytes to replenish. So you can bring the heat. Nothing beats Gatorade.
Let's say hello to Thomas Rubniak, who has just come in. Of course. Soon they're about to announce the selection by the Vegas Golden Knights, who is coming in. Definitely a big point for Vegas, of course. If anybody wants to ask, do you guys have any fans of any NHL teams? Do you have any free agents that you would desire? I'm a Devils fan. I would like Jake Gardner. That's the big free agent for the Devils. What are my thoughts on CBT? I'm not sure what that is. CBT, you have to explain to me.
The top 10 by both Craig and Bob. 6 foot, 183 pounds, a center from Canada, but recently suffered a torn Achilles tendon, cut by another player's skate blade accidentally, underwent surgery on June 7th. Upbeat here, but still waiting. And you'd have to think with modern medicine as he's limping in.
The pick.
He's a young man. He's going to make a full recovery, but he's dropping it.
He is, but we had him at 10, and sometimes
The
when
pick
you're a
is
center, there's a little bit of a discount for that and that alone.
the pick is there. I hope the Kings don't sign any free agents. Yeah, probably for your team, you probably don't want that.
You find somebody else.
Yeah, I would obviously agree with that. Devils need more defense. So, sorry, just a little late to it. Peyton Krebs just got selected by Vegas. So there's a guy, obviously, that comes in. Hi, Constantine. It's kind of weird you called me that, though. Yeah, so John Rocco.
14 years of age. So he knows him intimately over that period of time. So he's not worried. Obviously, you're satisfied on the nuts. This kid reminds me of Ryan.
John Rocco.
That type of player. That type of
John Rocco, yeah, I agree with you. Not to go take that player. Take many free agents, but Devils need defense. Constantine, the Devils selected Jack Hughes as they should have first overall.
You should be at or near the cap. And so now that affords them the
Peyton Krebs has a large injury to his knee. He's going to have to work on that rehab, but he doesn't have to be in Vegas for another 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So he could be a good impact player, fast and strong. That is the big thing. He's a fast and a strong hockey player, and that'll definitely help Vegas. That is what that entire team is, especially guys like Mark Stone. The Islanders, I had them taking Victor Soderstrom, but he got taken by the Arizona Coyotes early on. So I'm not sure. If you stay here, Constantine, when the Islanders pick, I will live stream that, and talk about who I think they'll select on who's available.
Well, way back in 1984, when J.J. Daigneault was drafted by the Vancouver Canucks, 10th overall, and he wheeled up to the stage on crutches, and takes everybody's breath away a little bit when you see that. Just a flashback.
So Dallas Stars, who I thought was going to take the goaltender, are on the clock now for the 18th selection. They're going to get ready to draft soon. No picks have been traded since the Philadelphia selection. Do I think Hughes wins the Calder next year? Yes, John Rocco. I do think he will win the Calder Trophy. He's an incredible talent. I'm so happy my New Jersey Devils have him on my team. I think your guy is going to be a good player. Turkett, but he probably won't even start yet.
She's 23 years old, and setting the pace
Obviously,
in the music world.
Yeah, and you talked about members of the family leaving.
But definitely, it'll be good for Peyton Krebs there in Vegas, as that's being shown again. Dallas has 2:20 left on the clock.
Thank you. Obviously, Madison, very emotional.
Yeah, a little bit, as you can see.
Now, is it a true story that Peyton listens to a lot of your music, just part of a day-by-day, game-by-game, pre-game ritual?
I heard a guy on another channel say Hughes will score 35 points next year. That sounds low. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think he's going to score 35 points.
All of your brothers are hockey players.
On a team like maybe the New York Islanders or a playoff team like that, maybe. But no, Hughes is going to have a lot of ice time and score a lot of points next year. I would have said, will he play with Hall? No, he'll be on second line. They're going to have it's going to be Heishier. It's going to be Heishier, Hall.
All right, Darren, thank you very much.
And Palmieri.
You guys had a first-round pick for the first
Heishier, Hall, and Palmieri. The second line will probably be Hughes, Bratt, and I think Coleman. Yeah, Coleman, Bratt, and Hughes. Probably second line he'll play. No, not first line. Nico Heishier has supplemented himself as first line center for the New Jersey Devils. Yeah, Swiss player. Crazy fact, I actually wanted them to take Nolan Patrick in front of Nico Heishier, but it's a great thing that they took Nico. And I don't regret that they didn't take Elias Pettersson, because Pettersson is not a player that the New Jersey Devils line with. Quick update, Dallas has just taken their pick. Soon they're about to unveil it and go to the stage and select a player. There's not really a need right now for the Dallas Stars. Maybe a little more offense. I think a guy like Peyton Krebs would be good for them now.
Liam?
Thanks. Sister Madison lives in Nashville, says there's going to be a dance party here in Vancouver. The party will continue in Vegas, but as for us, we're on to Dallas. First wild card in the West this year, reached the second round of the playoffs, and now Dallas Stars picking at 18.
To make Dallas's first pick, I'd like to introduce our senior owner, Bob Ghilardi.
Here's Dallas's selection.
Proud to pick Harley Thomas.
There's a guy I don't know much about. Thomas Harley, Canadian defenseman. Don't be surprised if Hughes replaces Heishier at the top line at the end of the season. Possibly. I don't know yet, though. They really like Nico. And Nico I've always compared to a Pavel Datsyuk, even though they play different positions. But I could see that. So Harley, as we said, to the Dallas Stars at 18. Another defenseman. Thomas Harley reminds me of a John Klingberg. So obviously going to play with defense, another Canadian guy. He played in Mississauga. I didn't have this guy going in the first round, but he gets taken 18th by the Dallas Stars. As they've picked on the clock is going to go Ottawa, their selection from Columbus. And then behind them will be Winnipeg at 20 and at 21 Pittsburgh. So John Rocco, your Kings are getting closer and closer to their 22nd selection. Constantine, your Islanders will soon follow. So we'll see that. On the clock now, Ottawa, as we said. And then behind them, of course, Winnipeg and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
You like that boldness. Given a choice of having a player you got to teach a little defense to, or the alternative that somebody doesn't have offense, you're going to take Thomas Harley every time. So here's my draft story. Remember the Harley Thomas? Go back to the 06 draft. The 22nd pick that year was Claude Giroux.
the great Bob Clark went to the podium to make the pick. He forgot Claude Giroux's name up there. So it's happened in this building before.
It's Harley, Thomas. There's the Suzuki that Bob is talking about. His brother was drafted a few years ago. He could go in the first round here. Thomas Harley is in. Bob, 18 of 18 picks in the top 18 so far. Not bad on your list.
Well, Ottawa about to make their selection soon as they're on the clock and as they go to commercial. Can you stand up? I want to see the jersey. Okay.
It's just not right. You can get your credit cards right by consolidating your credit card debt into one monthly payment. You can get your interest rate right by locking in a fixed low rate today. And you can get your money right with SoFi. Check your rate in 2 minutes or less. You get a no-fee personal loan up to $100K.
First round selection of the Edmonton Oilers in 2010, later traded in 2016 to the New Jersey Devils.
My age are drowning in college debt, but I chose a different path. I'm a member of the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I work hard for my job, and I love what I do. I had a lot of choices for my future, but I made the best choice for my family. IBEW, the right choice.
It's the first real test of the 2020 election. 20 candidates.
We'll see Ottawa still on the clock, see what they do with their first round selection. They've gotten a bunch of draft picks from Columbus in their trade adventure there. Islanders one would be better though. I'm not an Islander fan though, but as a question, Constantine, if you were to buy an Islanders jersey of a player on the hockey club now, who would you purchase a jersey of? Just a question on that.
Begin your day with the news that matters to you.
Welcome to Williamsburg News 12. We are excited to start our wonderful year.
New Jersey news from the team you know and trust.
Let's take a look at your 7-day forecast.
Franz Nielsen's. Are you talking about Franz Nielsen, Constantine? Franz Nielsen? Just want to know if that's who you were talking about, if it was Franz Nielsen or not.
My mom doesn't get enough credit for what she does. She taught me how to be,
So yes or no, Franz
I wouldn't
Nielsen.
be the person that I am today without her. And she was the one.
Franz Nielsen is not on the team anymore. He's a Detroit Red Wing.
But she was a really smart
So
Brought me to early
pick
morning
again.
practices, and she was a large part of my hockey career. Did a lot of driving, a lot of food cooking when I was home. She was a great.
Yeah, John Rocco, my friend Constantine. That's actually my friend Constantine.
Thanks, Mom.
He's more of a.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom.
He's more of a baseball and a football fan than a hockey fan. But he was a good Islander. No, I think he meant Franz Nielsen. Ottawa's pick is in, so we'll show you that on the selection.
Especially Ellen Hughes with Jack Hughes. Ellen won a world championship as a hockey player, 3-sport athlete. You know who could use a hug right about now? Senators fans. 3 seasons ago, Senators. 1 game from reaching
I would
the
probably
Stanley Cup
say
final. They lost to Pittsburgh double OT, game 7.
Anders Lee or Brock
Final.
Nelson.
2 seasons since then. Well, 2 seasons ago, second fewest points in the NHL. This past year, fewest in the
Well,
NHL.
here, Ottawa.
And now the Ottawa Senators picking here at 19.
About to select their pick at 19.
Before making our selection, the Ottawa Senators organization would like to thank the City of Vancouver, the Vancouver Canucks, and the Aquilini family for their hospitality. We would also like to say hello to our fans at the Royal Oak in Ottawa watching our draft party. Nous aimerions saluer nos partisans au Royal Oak à Ottawa en train de nous regarder. To make our selection, we will have one of our first round picks from last year, Brady Tkachuk, make the selection.
Ottawa selects from Kelowna, Lassie Thompson.
Another pick that wasn't expected to be made I didn't think would be made in the first round. Another defenseman, the second Finn on the board, first since Capo Caco, that was picked by the New York Rangers, second overall.
Yeah, Lassie Thompson played for the Kelowna Rockets.
Lassie Thompson gets picked number 19th to Ottawa. You still have over there now the Winnipeg Jets with their 20th selection are going to have a chance to take now for Winnipeg, and now the next two players. John Rocco, who the best player is available right now, is absolutely Peyton Krebs from the Kootenay Ice. He's not as skilled as some of these other guys with the skating and the passing, but I believe not like a shot like Bowen Byram has, but I believe that Kirby Dock of the Kootenay Ice, the center, has the hardest shot and one of the purest shots by any prospect now. And I think you're looking at the Winnipeg Jets and Bobby Brink. He's a good winger. He's a good player, but I think, especially if you're the Winnipeg Jets, this is a perfect pick because of the fact that you've got guys like Patrick Laine, Dustin Byfuglien. You take a guy with a pure shot to shoot. I think Bobby Brink would be probably a better player for your Los Angeles Kings, but right now, the best player available is absolutely Kirby Dock. Now they're on commercial, so waiting for the Jets to go ahead to make their pick because they're now on the clock for Winnipeg. Their only pick of this first round.
The world's most refreshing beer.
Discover card? Hi, do you have a travel card? We do. The Discover It's Miles card. Earn unlimited 1.5 miles on every purchase. Plus, we'll match your miles at the end of your first year.
You'll match my miles?
Yeah, mile for mile. And no blackout dates or annual fees.
What pick are the Jets? Number 20.
I love that.
Winnipeg is number 20, so we've got 11 more picks to go in this show and in the National Hockey League entry draft.
At the end of your first year, plus no annual fee or blackouts. The Discover It Miles card.
Here at IHOP, we're sticking to what we know best. Pancakes. Pancakes with all natural Black Angus beef. And wow, we even have a pancake in it.
Try one with unlimited fries, starting at $6.99. IHOP.
Great. Another wireless ad. So many of them are full of this complicated, tricky language about their network and offers and blah, 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 blah. Look, Sprint's going to do things.
I think Suzuki.
Decide for yourself. They're offering a new 100%.
I think Suzuki, if Brink
try it out and see the savings.
and
Love it, get your money back.
Krebs
See,
go to the Penguins and the
Sprint's
Jets,
unlimited plan comes with one of the newest phones.
I also wouldn't
$35.
put out of the way of you guys trading this selection. I can see the Los Angeles Kings trading the 22nd pick. If Krebs or Brink are available, yeah, I would try to take them. Also, don't put out maybe a possible selection of Philip Tomasino, but if Philip Tomasino is available, I think you still take Ryan Suzuki. Also, another defenseman, Matthew Robertson from the Edmonton Oil Kings. Winnipeg is just about to make their selection. David Cheveldayoff for the Winnipeg Jets to make their pick.
Interesting. Rangers, Jets, October 3rd from the Garden. Jacob Rivers right now. Who's paying the schedule maker here? So it's a matchup to mark on your calendar on October 3rd between Trouba and his former team, the Jets against the Rangers from MSG. But now it's all
right now. Here's pick all the Jets organization coming up. Got the alternate jerseys on. Kids there. David Cheveldayoff getting ready with Paul Maurice to make this selection for the future of the Winnipeg Jets. Also interesting to see, do you take defense like maybe Matthew Robertson?
Winnipeg Jets would like to thank the city of Vancouver, the Vancouver Canucks, for hosting such a wonderful event. We'd like to congratulate the St. Louis Blues on a Stanley Cup championship, well deserved. Making our selection today will be Marcel Como, who was our head scout for 5 years. He's going to be retiring at the end of the draft.
Thank you, Chevy. The Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from Lukko, Finland, Ville Heinola.
So Ville Heinola, a third Finn taken in this first round. Young defenseman comes in. For the Winnipeg Jets, another defenseman they really wanted to keep that going, and European defenseman that the Jets have already had. And so this guy reminds me a lot of Oli Mata. Just got traded to the Chicago Blackhawks from Pittsburgh. And he's a great defenseman. He'll play well for the Jets. It's a good pick. Obviously, he'll play another year or two in Europe. Maybe go to the Manitoba Moose and then go to the Jets from there. Really smart guy, really good defenseman that they really wanted to have, obviously, there.
Probably at least 2 years away, probably 3. I agree with that 100% in terms of the time frame.
So now on the clock are going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins at 21, which means there'll be 10 picks after that until the end of this draft. Well, end of this first round, excuse me.
They're starting to put together. Will they keep Tyler Myers? That's going to be the big thing going forward. Don't forget about Neil Pionk. I know there's a lot of Winnipeg Jets fans that are all Neil Pionk. Neil Pionk plays 22 minutes a game, and the only way you can play 22 minutes a game is if you can play in the different areas of the game. Neil Pionk is a good, solid player, and also with that trade, you get Ville Heinola, another really good, solid player. Nothing flashy, but good, solid, really good thinker.
And you look at Finnish team men drafted in the first round, and 2 here tonight in Thompson and Heinola. You don't have to go far to see talent with Miro Heiskanen taken.
So obviously, we'll see with that. Now, the 21st selection belongs to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Krebs is still available. I believe he's the best player in this draft so far that has not been selected. You've got guys like Bobby Brink still available. Pittsburgh's got 2:50 left on the clock as it's just started for their pick, their selection in this entry draft.
That has been quite a run. Very excited for our players. They work so hard. Coaching staff.
The Penguins need to get faster. They were too bulky, too big on defense. The Pittsburgh Penguins need to get faster. And I love Peyton Krebs, but I think the way you do that is you go draft Bobby Brink. Bobby Brink, right winger from Sioux City Musketeers in the Central Hockey League in Missouri. That's a guy that would help the speed of the Pittsburgh Penguins. It would really give them such supplemental needs as well. Akaliev is another good winger, but I think, you'll have to go and take Bobby Brink if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. He fits too well with Pittsburgh. Obviously, also to see if any trades are made if Pittsburgh wants to trade in this draft.
Nick's brother, he's left there, but Arthur Kaliev is certainly a fascinating prospect in this.
He's a really interesting story. He's an American, yet he came from Uzbekistan, went to Staten Island.
I've scored 51 goals for the Hamilton Bulldogs, the Ontario Hockey League. He's a big guy, 6'2". There's no Cole Caulfield size concerns here.
Arthur Kaliev, Pittsburgh might take, as they're talking about the big thing. You guys need speed. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, the Kings need speed. But the Kings are a team that, sorry to say, John Rocco, but they're a ways away from competing in the National Hockey League in a playoff type format for the Stanley Cup, where the Pittsburgh Penguins are still in the playoffs trying to have another crack at the Stanley Cup. And they need speed desperately, where the Kings are able to rebuild a little more. Los Angeles, they have that pick next, but I think Pittsburgh has to take Bobby Brink, if I'm going to be honest. What a hockey club they've got back there, but it's in desperate urge of it may go into a cap hell purgatory if you don't. Look at what they've had. They've had no first-round picks the last few years because of trades, but they have their first-round pick since 2014, where the Pittsburgh Penguins selected Kasperi Kapanen. Is Peyton Krebs a center? No, he is a winger. He's a left winger. Pittsburgh's first-round selection since 2014, where they took Kasperi Kapanen, who's been a great scorer for the Toronto Maple Leafs from the Kessel trade. So their pick is in. They're not to trade it.
He doesn't compete. Well, I'll go back. Mike Bossy couldn't play defense. Hall of Fame, 9 straight 50-goal season. Brett Hull was lazy. Hall of Fame, 700 goals. And Luke Robitaille, the president of the other, he couldn't skate. If you want to find a reason not to like players, you can find them. But you better celebrate what a guy does well, and Kaliev's an excellent goal scorer.
We're not on camera, but you keep hitting me as you make your points. I get it. I'm buying into it at this point.
Raphael Lavoie, also a good player.
Here we have Pittsburgh in this situation, Bob.
There are a lot of good offensive players still on the board. Raphael Lavoie, good goal scorer. Ryan Suzuki, a playmaking center. Kaliev, Philip Tomasino, a speedster who got offense.
Pittsburgh Penguins proud to select from Sherbrooke in Quebec Major Junior League, Samuel Poulin.
So Sammy Poulin gets taken by the Pittsburgh Penguins. And so there you go. A good winger. A Quebec native. Definite great player there. And so that will be there for the 21st pick, and for the 22nd selection, the Los Angeles Kings are going to have their second, John Rocco, their second in the first round. The LA Kings will just be about to get onto the clock as we look at Sammy Poulin, and Sammy Poulin is a Tomas Holmstrom type player, big body, can get in front and score at certain points of the game. It helps to some point for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but I don't think that's what they need. He's fast at some point, and he's got good eyes, good coordination, but you wanted a speed demon if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's what you needed, a speed demon. You didn't need a power forward, and it doesn't help that his discipline is down.
Had a very strong finish to the season.
So Samuel Poulin making his way up.
So he'll go to the Penguins, and now the Kings will be officially announced on the clock.
Number 21.
So greeting Mike Sullivan, Sammy Poulin up there, the newest member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Talk about size, 6'1", 212, impressive.
How many picks until the New York Islanders, Constantine? This is the 22nd pick owned by the Los Angeles Kings. This is Kings property from the Jake Muzzin deal with the Toronto Maple Leafs. The very next pick, 23rd, will be New York Islander property. So it's the 23rd. This is the 22nd pick. The 23rd pick will be taken by the New York Islanders. So John Rocco, now the Kings are right on the clock as they continue to look at Sammy Poulin.
When he goes to the World Junior, there's his father playing as a member of the Montreal Canadiens, but he was 9th overall of the Hartford Whalers in 1991.
Played over 600 NHL games. See him there. The Canadiens jersey and This was the moment he shared with his
And the booze raining down as the Kings are announced on the clock, mainly because of the 2011 year, 12 year, the Kings knocked out the Canucks, so obviously not happy to have them here. Interesting to see what the Kings do with this selection.
Let's go to Catherine. She's with Jim Rutherford.
Do you go in? Who do you take? What do you do with it? Do you go ahead and say, I need to go and take?
It doesn't change a whole lot. Our focus is still win on a championship, and we still think we have a window to do that. But we also have to get back to getting some prospects in the system. And we really like Poole. We like this draft, and I was pretty adamant about keeping our pick. I'm glad we did.
You like this draft? You've got 5 more picks in this draft. So what is the philosophy going
2:10 left on the clock for the Los Angeles Kings.
Players as we can. We have our list. We'll work off of our list. We don't have a priority by position. We'll just pick them as they come.
A lot of trade rumors speculating around Phil Kessel. Can you give us any update on where that progress is?
Well, it's exactly what it is. It's rumors. I think the way that my comments were at the end of the season, there was a lot of speculation that everybody was.
So LA will definitely see. I think you got to look for speed, but I really think defense is more of a priority.
Thank you very much. Best luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
To power your blue line. Let's look at those Kings teams. You had Alec Martinez. You had Jake Muzzin. Lots of great players in the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Club. And it all started with the blue line and those Stanley Cup championship teams in 2010 and 2014, able to bog down the power forwards of the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. And you're going to need to have that type of exertion on the blue line. They're not there yet, but for Los Angeles, if you can rebuild on the blue line, that would help. I'd look at a defenseman. I think Matthew Robertson from the Edmonton Oil Kings would be a good fit for.
I know Jim Rutherford is taking that tack right now, and I don't know if they'll be able to revive the trade that looked like it was going to happen
For
Jason Zucker coming from
Los Angeles, and we will see if possibly after this Los Angeles pick, maybe if Lou Lamoriello will call to sort some sort of trade, but it won't be at this pick because Los Angeles. So we will call in, but Los Angeles has taken their pick. The pick is in. And, greatest year of my life, 2012. It must have been great, John Rocco. I just read this, but it sucked for me as a hockey fan. I'm a diehard New Jersey Devils team, and you guys absolutely, as you did to Vancouver, as you did to St. Louis, as you did to Phoenix, you're able to overwhelm us, and it really was bad. Here you go, though. Here's the 22nd selection about to come in with Luc Robitaille of the Los Angeles Kings. We'll see who it is. I think Robertson would be a great pick for the Los Angeles Kings Hockey Club.
In the meantime, the LA Kings here picking for the second time in this first round. With their first pick, they took Alex Turcotte. Here's their next.
The Los Angeles Kings probably selects from Djurgården, Sweden, Tobias Björnfort.
Tobias Björnfort is another good European. So he gets in to be taken a good winger. Tobias Björnfort. He's a defenseman, European, Swedish guy. A stable guy. He's big. He likes to use his stick a lot. He's a really competitive big guy. He's a good fit. Not a real Jake Muzzin type player, but stability is the big word for him, for Tobias Björnfort. Stability, stable veteran, stable type player. He can build into somebody. And the need was defense, as I said, and the Los Angeles Kings filled that need at 22. I want to alert my Islander fan, Constantine, that right after Tobias Björnfort gets his jersey and becomes a member of the Los Angeles Kings, the New York Islanders, as the third defenseman from the nation of Sweden to be taken tonight. But right after this, the 22nd pick, the 23rd pick will be announced. and the Islanders will be ready to take their first and only selection of the night. So guys, obviously be ready for that.
Team in transition, a team that is
I will obviously announce who the Islanders pick is, and yes, the New York Islanders are now on the clock. New York is now on the clock.
You got Kupari coming in. So your center ice is now. You got Doughty long term. Now you added defenseman, a competitive defenseman. Rob Blake really felt that this team
I think New York has to go. I initially said defense, but right now with the defensemen that have been taken. Oh, yeah, no problem, John Rocco. Oh, obviously. This is amazing. I love this. This is one of my favorite things to do.
So the LA Kings second pick of this
The New York Islanders, as I had said defense, but I think the New York Islanders have to go offense. Yeah, Constantine, the Islanders are on the clock right now.
Number 23, it is the New York Islanders.
And obviously we see what Lou Lamoriello does. We see what the Islanders don't have a specific need right now, but they may want to build on center depth depending on what goes on in free agency. Later in the draft, you want to build on players that are available, but I think at center, they'll look to go get some players. Obviously, 8 picks to this selection. Wingers, but I could see centers really going down. You got good wingers in Peyton Krebs. Got guys like Bobby Brink. Maybe he comes in.
Salad and ultimate BLT sandwiches from Arby's. It's like eating a whole farmer's market.
But I think you got to go there. Maybe Raphael Lavoie. A lot of good players coming up as the next pick. Right, will be the New York Islanders. Behind them, after New York, on the clock will be the Nashville Predators and the Washington Capitals, 2 teams that made the playoffs but lost in the first round, 24 and 25. Obviously, as we've said, we've only had one trade tonight, and that was the trade. And that was the trade between the Arizona Coyotes and the Philadelphia Flyers that gave the Flyers a second-round selection and the 14th pick for the 11th selection that Arizona ended up taking the Swedish defenseman. So we'll end up seeing that.
Locate a dealer at biggreenegg.com. It's an exciting time at Kia with great products. Get great deals on vehicles loaded with advanced technology features, like the 2019 Sorento Sportage or Forte with brake assist system, or the 2019 Stinger and Optima, both with blind spot collision warning, all with a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Ooh, I like this one.
You, sir, have great taste. Just take it. Hurry into Kia's summer sales event to lease a specially tagged 2019 Sorento LX for $189 a month. Big Green Egg Country is a special place where grilling the perfect meal in your own backyard is more rewarding than having the best steakhouse do it for you. Simple to use, amazing results. It really is the ultimate cooking experience. Locate a dealer at biggreenegg.com.
Back here in beautiful Vancouver as our coverage of the first round of the 2019 NHL draft continues. Defenseman, a bit of a surprise considering how high a few of them went, but what else stands out for you, Bob?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, every one of those defensemen that we taken, they were all ranked in our top 31, so there's no surprise to that extent. What's surprising is the nationalities. So you got Bowen Byram, a Canadian. Then you've got a German in Cedar. You've got a Swede in Broberg, another Swede in Soderstrom, an American in York, a dual Canadian-American citizen who's now a Canadian in Thomas Harley, and then you've got Lassie Thompson, a Finn, Billy Heinela, a Finn, and then the most recent defenseman taken, Bjorn Fod, another Swede.
So now the Islanders are right about to select right now their first and probable only pick of this first round. So
it's a big year for the European defense.
Obviously, Barry Trotz, Lou Lamoriello, the Islander organization, they have.
And the St. Louis Blues.
Here's the selection.
And the New York Islanders selection will be made by Bellew Compton.
Islanders will select from AC71 Swedish Junior League forward Simon Holmström.
All right, so sweet, but not a defenseman, a right wing.
Simon Holmstrom, who was thought to be maybe a first-round selection. I didn't have him being taken in the first round, but Simon Holmstrom is a right winger, and Simon Holmstrom is an absolute goal scorer. That's what he's going to be brought in to do. He'll come in. We've seen this like defenseman, like Taves for the Islanders, but he can hold the puck well. He's great balance, great stick. He's an absolute goal scorer. That's what he is for Simon Holmstrom. So he wants to get a little faster, but for him, that is a good pick by Lou Lamoriello, Barry Trotz, and the entire New York Islander organization to snag him at 23. And so that is the pick that was made there.
With Jakob Vrana became a pretty significant player for him. And I hope that he understands that Simon Holmstrom might be a similar player because there was some friction there at times between coach and player. No question. Of the 10 scouts that we surveyed to get consensus rankings, 8 of those 10 scouts ranked Simon Holmstrom in the second round. That is after the 31st pick. The 2 scouts that ranked him in the first round, one of them had him.
So now Nashville is going to have their pick now. It's a first-round selection at number 24. Behind them will be the 25th selection, which is held by the Washington Capitals, and the 26th selection, which is Calgary Flame property. And when that 26th selection comes out, we will probably hear a massive train of boos because of the intense rivalry between the Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames.
So, I mean, you look at it, they're setting up really nice.
They're building the building with a purpose, and Holmstrom here is part of that Swedish gold medal winning U18 world team, known as a smart goaltender. But you look at first round draft picks by country, big night for the Americans with 7, that's matched by Canada. But the Swedes in there with 4, and Finland still this massive influence despite the population of that country.
Figure this out, it's the same size as the province of Quebec, 7 million people.
It is. It's amazing. Finland, 3 first-rounders. The Islanders, 103 points last year.
So the United States and Canada, they said are 7 players, the most right now in the first round, but the Canadiens will probably take them over before this first round is over.
The New York Islanders, as you see him shake Lou Lamoriello's hand right there and put on that Islander jersey, could be a few years, of course. So we see him in the NHL play just 1 game for the top-tier club in Sweden. Barry Trotz, reigning coach of the year of the New York Islanders. He's with Cap.
That's right, Liam. He just took home the Jack Adams Award for the 2nd time the other night. Congratulations on that, Coach.
Thank you.
Also, congratulations on the big number 1 pick here, Nordstrom. What do you like about this player that made him intriguing?
Well, obviously we don't really look at those players a lot from my standpoint, but our scouts are saying he's a really good release, lots of quickness, real good hockey IQ. So.
2:10 left on the clock for the 24th selection by Nashville, David Poyle. We'll see what they do. I think you work on some more defense for the Nashville Predators. You look on the blue line for Nashville. It's a great team. Philip Tomasino, that would work well with the Nashville Predators. We'll definitely see what that team does there.
We don't have success unless we play as a team, and that started with the leadership group and the group that we had, and obviously our leadership starts at the top of Lou Lamoriello, so we've got really good structure, real good determination, and I think we're building something real special on the island.
Well, congratulations on an exciting week for you and your team this week. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Darren, over to you.
All right, well, the Nashville Predators now on the clock, and Predators general manager David Poyle has a couple of key pieces in play here, including veteran defenseman PK Subban. Now, he's got 3 years remaining on his contract at a $9 million cap hit. The belief is that the Predators are willing to eat as much as $3 million annually off of that to facilitate a trade. Another name from the Nashville Predators is Kyle Turris, and some believe that Poyle is trying to shake things up, perhaps clear some space to make room for a covenant-pending, unrestricted free agent forward in Matt Duchene. Liam?
Yeah. So, excuse me, as Darren finishes up, we'll continue to talk about PK Subban because we were talking while Darren was giving his report about what the market might be for PK Subban, a guy who obviously has a big salary but a ton of talent.
But as Darren points out, if Nashville were to take back $3 million of the $9 million,
So now here's the 24th pick, the 24th selection for the Nashville Predators. That's
some people think the Vancouver Canucks have kicked tires amongst
just about to be had.
$6 million
David
in the
Boyle,
Nashville, and that's what ends up happening.
there.
You start to figure out there is no market, so I'm going to have to figure out how much money I have to take back in a deal for PK Subban.
So it's a lot to consider for the Nashville Predators, but first things first, they pick here at number 24.
I'd like to say to our fans that are viewing watch party in Nashville, with our first choice, Nashville Predators select from the Niagara Ice Dogs, Philip Tomasino.
So there, Tomasino, I said he would be a secondary guy. He might be a player that would be taken by the Nashville Predators, and yeah, he does go to Nashville. Tomasino does become a member of the Nashville Predators. He's a Mississauga boy, Ontario, Canadian.
He just drives play with that speed. Up the ice with the
And so, yeah, Canada overtakes America with first-round picks, the 8th Canadian taken in this first round. He's got a great skating, good shot from the fourth side, really plays well into that system. And I'll see if he continues to play in the Ontario Hockey League, or if he goes to Milwaukee to play with the Admirals in the American Hockey League. He has a lot of potential. A lot of potential.
He's got skill, and he creates, and he's very disruptive with his speed, both offensively and defensively.
That's the one thing. Absolutely agree. He'll force turnovers all over the ice because of that speed and closing ability. He's just going to have to be a little bit more subtle with playmaking and understanding how to create time and space with the puck on his stick. Well, we're now into that point of the draft. I mean, Dante Fabro was drafted in 2016. He made his NHL debut here 3 years later. That's where Philip Tomasino and these types of players are in terms of their time frames for arriving in the NHL.
34 goals this season, only 4 on the power play. Tomasino doesn't.
So obviously, the potential there. They're going to go to break now. This is the 25th selection coming up for the Washington Capitals. Obviously, Calgary and Tampa Bay will be behind them in the draft. 25 we are, so we have 6 more selections coming up in this first round. And before this show will come to an end, and the first round will come to an end.
Geico could save you 15% or more on car insurance. The Mercedes-Benz of tomorrow will transform not just the automobile, but mobility itself. An autonomous thinking vehicle protecting those inside and out. And it's the Mercedes-Benz of today that will help us get there. The 2019 E-Class, with innovations that will change the way we drive from this day forward.
So obviously, Washington isn't in need of a guy that's going to play immediately the next 3-4 years at all. But for a franchise that's going to get older and older, and at some point is going to have to deal with free agency and drafts and rebuild. They're nowhere near that rebuild now, but as they're in the Stanley Cup window, the Washington Capitals want depth, so they'll be more prepared for that rebuild and already have the depth and the speed that they need. Possible defenseman, but I would say speed is what is needed, and it looks like the Washington Capitals are getting ready for their pick and that they have made their selection. And yes, they have. Now the Washington Capitals are getting ready for their 25th pick. We'll show them all here.
Jack Hughes becoming
here.
the 8th American to go number 1 overall in the NHL
He's the pick
draft.
that is in for Washington. Behind them on the clock are the Calgary Flames and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
How you doing? I'm literally gonna put the jersey on like a Super Bowl. So I'm gonna face that. Hey, you look sharp, baby. You look sharp. I'm excited. This is pretty sweet. Hey, look at Wayne Gretzky.
They continue to show highlights of Jack Hughes, the newest Devil.
Let's go. Thanks, baby. Nice, Jackie. Thanks, Lauren.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks, son. Yeah.
I like the build-up, playing it cool, and then the emotions.
That was really good.
And
So
now
Washington
here's
selection in.
Capitals picking at
Following.
number 25.
Washington Capitals select for the London Knights, Connor McMichael.
Connor McMichael from one of the greatest programs across the world in junior hockey in the London Knights in the Ontario Hockey League. And Connor McMichael from Ajax, Ontario is a stable center. He's defensive. He's a smaller guy, but he can play all the types on the ice. Really supplemental guy. He's going to be a great player in the future for the Washington Capitals, along with Lucas Johansson, who should come in this year. And then they're building for the future with Connor McMichael. Just a great player, and he'll play probably for another year in London, but obviously going to Hershey, play there, and then he may make the Washington Capitals in the future. A good pick for the Washington Capitals. Absolutely. So that'll be the
It's interesting. Robert Thomas, who of course just won the Stanley Cup with the St. Louis Blues. That's how Connor
25th
McDavid
pick
got to London. He was traded for McMichael.
with Connor McMichael. And now coming up on the clock will be the 20 to get ready to take their pick. Will be the 26th pick now, owned by the Calgary Flames, which will send this place into a raucous serenade of booze. And the 27th pick behind them on the clock, owned by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the 28th by the Carolina Hurricanes.
Connor McDavid and Connor McMichael. Instead, he goes to the Washington Capitals, and the wait continues for a couple of Americans. Arthur Kaliev still there on the board, as is Bobby Brake, and the Calgary Flames are on the clock.
And Kaliev still would be able to be taken. We'll see what happens there as the Flames get ready soon to pick.
Complicated, tricky language about their network and offers and blah, 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 blah. Look, Sprint's going to do things differently and let you decide for yourself. They're offering a new 100% total satisfaction guarantee. Try it out and see the savings. If you don't love it, get your money back. See? Simple. Now Sprint's unlimited plan comes with one of the newest phones included for just $35 a month. So switch now.
Huge mistake. Choose Mobile One Synthetic instead. It protects engines better than conventional motor oil.
Yeah, you would say that. You're wearing the logo.
How about now?
Get 250,000 miles of protection. Upgrade to Mobile One.
Coors Light is cold packaged. For peak refreshment. The world's most refreshing beer. Coors Light. For 100 years, one color has defined the Tour de France. The Tour de France begins July 6th on NBCSN. I shouldn't be in control of this thing, but somehow I am. Your elbows, your shoulders, your arms, your wrists, it beats you up. If you're not in pain, you didn't try hard enough. Altice One by Optimum has cloud DVR so convenient it's hard to believe, especially if you don't believe anything.
All terrain, we'll see.
I need to think about it. Any DVR can work in health. But can it work in... It works anywhere.
Try Altice One, the all-in-one entertainment experience that converts the skeptic.
That one's nice. Ooh, I like that style.
Car shopping?
Not obvious?
Try Car Gurus.
Car Gurus.
It's easy to find the cars you like and compare deals. Every car is rated from great deal to overpriced. The best deals are sorted first.
Car Gurus gives you deal reviews too.
Ooh, look at that model.
Jinx. Go to Car Gurus today to find great deals from top-rated dealers near you.
Back here in Vancouver, the Calgary Flames are on the clock. The Vancouver Canucks fans let them hear about it. Top American prospects, 7 have already been drafted. Haven't had one drafted since the 15th pick. That was Cole Caulfield. And you think about some of the best available right now for the Calgary Flames. Bob, who are the first couple players that pop in your mind?
Well, you got a scoring center, Wild plays for the Halifax Moosehead. In the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, he's a big guy that can put the puck in the net. And then you've got Ryan Suzuki from the Barrie Colts.
A lot of good players, of course.
Nick Suzuki, first-round pick of the Vegas Golden Knights, who was traded as part of the Pacioretty deal and is now a Montreal Canadian prospect. So we'll see if they go there. And keep in mind, we're still waiting for Bobby
Of course, Brink, a lot of good players available, and we'll see what Calgary decides to do.
Top prospects, the Calgary Flames. The pick is in at number
Kaliev,
26.
Suzuki, great players, and we'll see what the Calgary organization.
And here we go.
Brad
Calgary
Trevlin
Flames would
decides
like
to
to
do.
thank the great city of Vancouver, Vancouver Canucks, for a wonderful draft weekend. We'd also like to say a special hello to the greatest hockey fans back in Calgary.
Nice shade.
And with our first selection from Moncton of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, Jacob Pelching.
Jakob Peltier comes in, good Canadian boy, and Jakob Peltier comes in as another winger from Quebec, from the Moncton Wildcats.
On the skates. Jacob Peltier's a really smart player.
And he goes into 5'9", smaller guy, goes in to play for the Calgary Flames. They know of short players and the great Johnny Gaudreau.
He gets the puck in the right spots. He's a good penalty killer. He's a smart player. And to me, he's a second-line player. He's an offensive type player that can make plays. But he's going to
Reminds you a lot of another player who had the number 11 a few years ago in the former Red Wing, Danny Cleary. And Jakob Peltier, great pick, fast, smart hockey player. Great pick by the Calgary Flames.
Number 31 on our draft ranking board, so not a reach at all for the Calgary Flames, taking him at number 26. It's worth noting the Canadian Hockey League is comprised of the Western Hockey League, the Ontario Hockey League, the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. The first time
And it was a really good pick by
all those three junior
the Calgary Flames to go and select Jakob Peltier
Jacob Peltier was next
for the
so he's clearly got
Calgary Flames. On the clock now were the President's Trophy champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Behind them are the 28th pick, which belongs to the Carolina Hurricanes, and the 29th pick, which is Anaheim Duck property. The second of the first round for them. They got their pick by trading Montour, their young defenseman, to Buffalo, and the Buffalo pick was gotten from the San Jose Sharks from the Evander Kane trade 2 years ago. So they have that going for them. And now the Lightning will get ready to pick 27.
The Ducks, the Boston Bruins, and then at 31, the Sabres.
So what they will have, of course, I really think you have to go draft a player like maybe a Suzuki or Arthur Keliev. Maybe a Bobby Brink, that type of player. I think Brink is the player you draft if you're the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you over the wonderful sounds of nature. Try Canada Dry Ginger Ale and Lemonade. Now in diet. Can I write that later? Nope. Nothing. I'll let you think about it.
The only thing better than this bourbon are the friends you share it with. Jim Beam Black, the world's highest rated bourbon. Their words, not ours.
I can't tell you who I am or what I witnessed, but I can tell you Liberty Mutual customized my car insurance so I only paid for what I need to.
Tampa Bay really needs offense. They need toughness, but right now you got to go get offense.
You're going down. Way down. This floor root canal. And this is Dad. Music Festival bathroom. This ride is closed. Car shopping.
Definitely have to get offense and speed when you look at a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning.
A 3-day worry-free exchange and test drives that come deep. Not so fast, Captain Colin. Back it up. It's car shopping. Made better. The St. Louis Blues are Stanley Cup
Definitely for Tampa Bay. Obviously, they're building to the draft. The word is building to the draft. I don't know if he will sign him to a contract, but Bobby Brink would be a good player for Tampa Bay if they do end up drafting him.
Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLShop.com, a Fanatics experience. We go back 10 years, 2009 NHL draft. Victor Hedman selected second overall by the Lightning, just after the Islanders took John Tavares. Let's say that both of those picks worked out, but Hedman certainly has worked out for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and now you have a Lightning team that goes out to the President's Trophy.
So, Air Bristol getting ready to pick for the Tampa Bay Lightning now.
They don't really have a need at all. They just need to get to the playoffs and prove that they can win the Stanley Cup. So, if you don't have a need, how do you approach this?
I think you just take the player you like the most. You don't have to be in a rush for the player. You just put them away, let them grow wherever that's college or junior or Europe, and then figure where you're going to be in 2-3 years' time.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are very proud to select from Kelowna of the Western Hockey League, Nolan Foote.
So now there's 2 feet.
So Nolan Foote, a winger. I wanted to get a winger. They didn't get Bobby Brink, but it's the same type of speed. It's the same type of player type. Nolan Foote from Englewood, Colorado, but a Canadian boy, goes 6'4", big player, 195-pounder. He ends up going to the Tampa Bay Lightning at 27 with that pick.
Nolan is a really good player around the net. He plays the game similarly to James Van Riemsdyk. He gets to the right spots, very good on the power play.
Big time play. He'll help the terrific Tampa Bay power play that they have there in Florida. And it'll bring up now with that pick. He's also the son of Adam Foote, the great defenseman from the Colorado Avalanche, Hall of Famer. And now with Tampa Bay taking Nolan Foote,
Two of the 10 scouts we interviewed had Nolan Foote as a late
the 28th selection now will be brought up, ready to pick, and it belongs to the Carolina Hurricanes.
That's why he ended up ranked number 38 on our list. But any of those players in the 30s.
And this late in the draft, a trade will not be foreseen. Behind Carolina, the 29th pick of the Anaheim Ducks that was already said via Buffalo via San Jose, and the 30th selection, which belongs to the Boston Bruins behind them, and then that 31st pick, the last pick of the draft of the first round, which is Buffalo Sabres property from the Ryan O'Reilly trade that happened last summer.
And he just was named the assistant general manager, deservedly so. There's the Flick family success. 3 feet, not 2. We can't call them 3 flicks, kid.
Adam Flick, 19 NHL seasons, 2-time Cup champion, as you mentioned, also Nolan's coach in junior. And here's the hugs, because brothers don't shake hands.
Mixed cheers, mixed boos. The Carolina Hurricanes being presented here in Rogers Arena in Vancouver.
The Tampa Bay Lightning, John Cooper's their head coach. He's the captain.
All right, thanks, Liam. Coach, you already have 1 foot in the organization. You add Nolan Foote here to the equation. What about his game did you guys really have interest in?
It was quick. I was going to throw in something about having 2.
They've already made all the jokes.
Having 2 great feet. No, you know what? First of all, when the player comes up and he's taller than the coach and the GM, you're always good. That's a good sign at this young age. But you know what? Competitive as he can be, he can shoot the puck with NHL players right now, and size and strength, something that we will help us moving forward. So, he just loved ultra competitive. Both he and his brother.
The 28th, Carolina. I'm not sure what need they really would. I would look at defense at this point, but I think taking one of these 2 American kids that are looking at, you look at a guy like Bobby Brink. You look at a guy like.
Years ago, we lost some draft picks, especially some high ones. Like we've been. It's like a blessing and a curse when you have a good regular season. It's great, but you're always drafting in 27 or higher.
Right, you look at one of these type players.
This late in the first round, and we feel Al Murray's done a heck of a job in our draft picks.
And I think that would
in the second round, the points
help them absolutely.
Third round, and those are the guys you got to find deeper into the draft, and we're pretty fired up that we found another.
For what Carolina, of course.
My pleasure.
Liam with a sense of humor. He enjoys your jokes, guys, as I should be. We move on to Carolina right now. They are on the clock. 99 points during the regular season.
Wants to do the Arthur Kaliev would be a good player. I think one of Arthur Kaliev or maybe Bobby Brink, one of those 2 players. I would say Kaliev. And Carolina has just put their pick in, and they're, of course, ready to go with that. As the TV program continues to show a bunch of jerk highlights from the great Carolina Hurricanes kids, we want to really thank Don Cherry for that great amount of epic fun on that name. It's really taken off. And what a fun team this was to see. It's more fun than the 02 team that ran past the Leafs and went to the Cup final. It's more fun than the 06 team that won it all. It's more fun than the 09 team that went past the Devils, the Boston Bruins, and had a good series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Well, enough of that. Now it's a new season. It's a new offseason. And now Carolina has their 20th selection ready to pick. Maybe Raphael Lavoie, but I think
to make their selection. Again, a team that's went from wild card to Eastern.
Who you have to take.
The Vancouver Canucks and City of Vancouver for their hospitality. I'd like to say hello to our great fans back in Raleigh. I'd also like to congratulate Tony McDonald and Bert Marshall, who are retired at the end of the year for their great careers. To make our selection will be Tony McDonald.
Carolina Hurricanes select the Barry Colts of the Ontario Hockey League, Ryan Suzuki.
So Ryan Suzuki finally goes. Nick Suzuki's brother, taken by the Vegas Golden Knights. Ryan Suzuki, London, Ontario native. And he can be a real player in this league. And he'll play. They've got an awesome American Hockey League team there. He can play in Canada for a year or 2. And he'll get his chance, and he'll get his time to make the Carolina Hurricanes in the National Hockey League and play well.
over the course of the year,
he can be a great player. He's one of the best passers, one of the best pure passers in this draft. Brian Suzuki, Barry Colt guy, played well with the program, good program they've got there. And his best shot is his backhand, his best pass forehand. He can turn into a great playmaker, and it's a good pick by the Carolina Hurricanes. Tom Dunn and his organization did a fantastic job. Brendan Moore up there really helped for Carolina.
To play at the next level in the National Hockey League, he is going to have to become more of an inside player. Nick was the MVP of the OHL playoffs for Guelph, who won the championship, and Nick is a dyed-in-the-wool competitor. Dyed-in-the-wool.
But in terms of things you can't teach, we saw it in the video there, the skill, the speed.
30th selection.
Absolutely, it's unbelievable.
And 29th selection just about to be come up, and that obviously, as we said, belongs to the Ducks. They're about to go to commercial. The Ducks are about to take their pick, 30th pick, belonging to the defending conference champion Boston Bruins, and the 31st pick, which is Sabres property, and that on the show after that. So 29 right now.
All my chips are red. And my favorite chips, barbecue.
And my car keys. And my chocolate chip key ring.
You can't drive anywhere, your insurance lapsed.
That may be so, but check this. Computer chips.
But now you can't get online and get a quote.
Guys, keep your keys. We'll insure you, but read them and weep. For a great rate you can get online. Go to the general and pay some time.
Wandering through secret hills and telling stories around the grill. From blazing out on peaceful docks to
So for a guy like the Anaheim Ducks, they've on speed already. I'm not sure if they continue with speed. I think they should take Raphael Lavoie with the 29th selection.
Gear up with the official cup collection by Fanatics, available at NHLShop.com. Get your commemorative men's and women's Stanley Cup champions t-shirt and official hat. The same ones the players wear as they hoist the Stanley Cup, plus other one-of-a-kind championship designs. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLShop.com, a Fanatics experience.
The Green Egg Country is a special place where grilling the perfect meal in your own backyard is more rewarding than having the best steakhouse do it for you. Simple to use, amazing results. It really is the ultimate cooking experience. Locate a dealer at BigGreenEgg.com.
Obviously, you definitely want to look for speed, and I think Raphael Lavoie has that. But for the Anaheim Ducks, we'll see where they go. Again, this is building. This is all building for the future. So it's not something they automatically need an impact player right now.
Simple to use, amazing results. It really is the ultimate cooking experience. Locate a dealer at BigGreenEgg.com.
Back here in Vancouver,
Anaheim has just put their pick in, ready for their selection now.
big night for American hockey. 7 players from the same
And Bob McKenzie and the Anaheim Ducks are ready to make their selection.
the Anaheim Ducks.
Trevor Zegras, that they picked 9 overall. Here's their second pick.
Number 9, and Bob, here they are, 29.
Coming up
The
now.
best available player right now on our board is Raphael Lavoie. I mean, Max Comtois from the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League was taken in the first round by Anaheim. I'll be curious to see if they go here. Arthur Kaliev, the big 51-goal scorer, is still on the board.
The Anaheim Ducks are excited to select from the Moose Jaw Warriors, Braden Tracy.
Another guy not expected to go in the first round, Braden Tracy, is taken by Anaheim. And so Lavoie, Brink, and out of Lavoie, Brink, and Kaliev at least one of those three will have to wait for the second round as they've continued to fall. Braden Tracy, another Canadian, a 6'1", 170-pounder, so about average. As a center will go to Anaheim. They're continuing with speed. Now, Tracy is not a specific fast player, but he has great position. He can pass well. He can develop into a fundamental NHLer for the Anaheim Ducks. So it's a good idea, but it seemed to be taken a little too high. He's more of a mid-second rounder. But the Ducks wanted that type of player.
Of the Carolina Hurricanes. I'm not going to put him at that level, but that's the style of game he plays at.
So the Ducks wanted their player. They wanted the offensive skill. They've got the offensive skill, and they've got a guy they can groom in Braden Tracy.
Earlier in the first round, now they take this player. So they're adding offense. Corey Perry's done there. Ryan Getzlaff, obviously not getting any younger. We don't know what's happening with Ryan Kessler, so you can see what Bob Murray's trying to do. He's trying to add some offense.
Well, let me tell you this. He's got Sam Steele, who they drafted in the first round a few years back. He's got Troy Terry, who's an outstanding right winger. He's got Max Jones, who they drafted in the first round and went leaps and bounds ahead in his game this year. Maxime Comtois. They're starting to set it up pretty nicely with a forward group, with a young group of players.
Not too far off the board, we had Braden Tracy at number 36 on our board, and as I said, especially those guys between 31 and 32 and 40 are interchangeable parts.
So now on the clock, the Boston Bruins are going to be getting ready to pick at 30 near the end of our show here on the Puck Drop here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And the Blues obviously going to come in. So yeah, Anaheim's picks, Zegras and Tracy. First and last pick of the first round for the Boston Bruins coming on now as they get to go on the clock, and the chorus of boos as we expected come in.
Maybe you can hear from the ambient sound from the crowd here in Vancouver.
They don't have short memories here. 2011, I remember 2011 pretty good.
Yeah, we had a 7-game series this year that Boston lost. That was a 7-game series that they won. But for right now, let's go to Catherine Tappan, who's with Bob Murray.
All right, Liam, thank you very much. 2 first-round picks for you here. You go with Zegras and Tracy. What was the philosophy heading into this night?
Well, obviously, we've got to score some more goals in Anaheim. So we brought 2 skilled kids. Both have good hands. Both are creative. And we just, again, we had to improve our offense.
So 2:30 left on the clock on the Boston getting ready for their selection. Neither of those guys, Brink or Lavoie. I think Lavoie for the Boston Bruins, possibly. Usually want a tougher guy, but I think
Bob, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks, Catherine.
gotta watch possibly Hoglander, but I think Lavoie gets taken by the Boston Bruins here.
Stayed specifically just to boo the fact that the Boston Bruins are picking here.
You can't believe how popular the St. Louis Blues are.
Blues popular, the Bruins on the clock, but the bottom line is this: there are 2 picks remaining in this first round. So who is out there that you said this is a first-round pick?
Yeah, Raphael Lavoie, number 19. A big center, can score goals. 41 goals, 62 games for the Halifax Blues Heads. Arthur Kaliyev, number 21 on our list. Second best natural goal scorer in the draft. 51 goals. He's 6'2", plays for the Hamilton Bulldogs. Next up will be a pair of defensive defensemen. Matthew Robertson at number 25 and Alex Vlasic of the U.S. Under-18 program.
No, I think Robertson would be more perfect for the Bruins. We'll see what they do there.
We had ranked in the first round that haven't gone. There's been a lot of talk about the
And a minute left on the clock for Boston. They still haven't decided if they're going to make their pick. Cam Neely, they've been on the phones trying to see if they want to make a trade, maybe go out of the first round for some more picks because they don't need specifically a player right now.
He's not going to come in, Lavoie or Kaliyev, and fix your problems right now.
No.
But if you don't have those goal scorers, they're not going to help you when you need them. The Boston Bruins went dry at the most important time of the Stanley Cup final.
So Boston Bruins, as the clock ticks down, just about 20 seconds, they're making their way to the stage. Pierre, weigh in here. If you're last minute advice, you would say go where?
I would take Raphael.
Lovelock.
I really would. I think the upside for the players is tremendous. They've had a lot of success with players out of the Quebec Major Junior League. I would be very
Vancouver fans now chanting Boston sucks, but now Boston just about to make their pick. It hasn't been officially submitted, so we don't know if
I feel like they're overlooking that.
In terms of why Lavoie and Kaliev haven't gone, the knock on Lavoie was a little bit.
and now Boston's pick is in. It will not be traded.
He's a scorer, but maybe a little bit of a one-trick pony that way.
So the 30th selection now. We'll look at Cam Neely going up there. And rest of the Boston Bruins organization. Bruce Cassidy.
He's the next Pavel Brendel. You don't know who Pavel Brendel is? Look it up. At 72 goals, played what, 5th overall to the New York Rangers? It never really panned out. 4th overall, rather.
The Blues reigning in Rogers Arena in the very building
First of all, I'd like to thank the city of Vancouver, the Vancouver Canucks for their hospitality.
9 years ago they won.
Shout out to Maple Ridge. I'm going to have a fellow British Columbia Dean Malcock select our pick. To select John Beecher.
John Beecher, and now wrap it up. It is number 8.
So John Beecher goes to the Boston Bruins, an American, a center.
Okay, so a couple of things. Bergeron, Krejci are getting a little older. Okay, so to me, John Beecher, this is
For the Boston Bruins at 30.
He's an elite skating center.
An New York State resident and born and raised. A bigger guy, a big, wide, tall hockey player that's going to be involved in face-offs. So they don't go and get the goal scorer in Lavoie or Kurchev.
You look at the future for the Boston Bruins. They drafted Trent Frederick a couple of years ago. They got Jack Stadniczka. John Beecher is a nice fit for the Boston.
Just a great pick and a great move by the Boston Bruins to go and select Johnny Beecher.
And I don't want to say that this is a reaction to playing against the St. Louis Blue team that was big and physical
And the size there, obviously, for
But I mean, the theory's not out of the
him. And now the 31st pick. Well, now Beecher's now going to go to Michigan and become a Wolverine and play some college hockey. So they're not going to need him immediately.
Well, I mean, it's one thing, everything being equal, you want a bigger player, but you need competitiveness. And if you're not competitive,
Let's see.
Bob just talked about
Hi to
Valley Avenue, right?
Tiffany Gamio.
Talk about Ryan Suzuki. There's no questioning their talents or their skills, but if you're not competitive, will is a skill. And if you lack it, if we just saw it in the Stanley Cup playoffs, you know what? You're going to have some challenges.
And they're not getting any younger at center, by the way. Patrice Bergeron's not getting any younger. David Krejci's not getting any younger. Charlie Cloud's not getting any younger. They need some help down the middle. This smart pick, very smart. Trent Frederick, who they drafted late in the first round a couple of years, competitive. Jack Stadniczka, they drafted in the third round, competitive, plays hard. John Beecher plays hard.
Now Buffalo will be on the clock. I think you take Artur Kaliev if you're a Buffalo Sabres. Go and get a pure goal scorer here.
Belongs to Buffalo, but before that, an enormous night for the Americans. The 8th player taken from that United States National Team Development Program, John Beecher. Let's go to Gavin.
Yes, Liam, probably the hardest handshake I've had all night. John, congratulations. What about your game can we look forward to seeing when you put on the Boston Bruins uniform?
Yeah, I think my
2:40 left on the clock now. This pick will belong to the Buffalo Sabres. It's the selection that was taken from the Buffalo Sabres from the St. Louis Blues.
So what drew you back into the game?
My brother, he was
The Ryan O'Reilly trade and pick, of course. And I think you take Artur Kaliev if you're the Buffalo Sabres. You want to get a pure goal scorer. That's the guy you want to get. Gotta find ways. Buffalo has to find ways to get the puck to the back of the net. For 2 minutes left on the clock for them. Just the last pick of this show and the last pick of this first round draft. So, and then of course,
John, congratulations. Thanks so much.
Rafael Lawan maybe, but I really think Arthur Kaliev is the type of player that you have to take. If you are the Buffalo Sabres.
He's a rating general manager of the year. He's with Cap.
He is indeed, Liam, but he just told me he would trade any of that for the opportunity to bring home the Stanley Cup. Fell just short this year, but you get an incredible draft pick there. What about John intrigued you?
Well, obviously size, athletic, skating ability. Sometimes in the program they're not putting profile roles. We think there's a higher upside there offensively. Second part of the year, he started to score, take pucks to the net, being more comfortable in the situation he's in. I think with a lot of growth left in his game, he's already 6'3" and over 200 pounds. And skating is still paramount in the NHL now, so he'll fit in well with our group.
You go to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. That means a very shortened off-season. So how do you approach this off-season with what you want to do with your roster, but also getting guys the needed rest that they deserved?
Well, fortunately, our staff was well prepared for the draft. They did a lot of work. But you're right, our roster, we need to have guys. It'll be a short summer. We got to get them. We got some guys that are banged up and need to be rehabbed and some surgery stuff. So we're going to have to rely on our younger guys like we did this year from a depth perspective. We used 37 players, and got to the very last step, and we need all that going forward.
All right, Don, thanks so much. Liam.
Catherine, thanks so much. So Boston Bruins get their pick in at 30. The St. Louis Blues, no picks in the first round. But they have this message. We don't have a first round pick tonight at the NHL draft. But got a few things going for them. Here's the pick, the final one of the first round.
Here's Buffalo's selection.
Another American.
Ryan Johnson, another defenseman for the Buffalo Sabres. A big guy, really helps Buffalo down on the blue line. I thought they were going to go take a player like Artur Kuriev to try to get the goal scoring, but it's a good pick there, good prospect there for the Buffalo Sabres. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the first round. Please do some more videos in the summer, and then we obviously see in the fall, free agency, and we see in the fall for the start of the National Hockey League regular season. Hopefully you guys have a good night, and happy hockey.
You're going to get hemmed into your zone. I don't care how good your offensive skills are.